going for them. But I am curious to see how the utility is going to shake out here for the Breach, for the Sova, how that's going to play, as you had mentioned before, Mimi, going up against that Viper.
Genji is going to really struggle to contest Sentinels on those extremities. The Breach comp is super good for taking a lobby, early space like that. So it's probably going to rely on a lot of retakes here for Genji, but they're great at them.
Oh, doggy. It's now time to get ready for map 1 of Masters Madrid. Or excuse me, we got a Masters Madrid rematch. I got Spain on the mind.
It's
Champions. It's going to be amazing. We're here at Champions, baby. Let's go ahead and send it over to your casters. You got Brennan Sideshow for the call.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, let's get to this one. GB's already teed it up. Listen, it's that Masters Madrid finals, that rematch between these two teams, where honestly, both of them peaking at sort of the right times, but drastically different trajectories in terms of where they've landed over the course of 2024.
I would totally agree with that. You're looking at the two teams that have lifted trophies. Genji have gone from success to success.
Let's go. Let's go.
Super Bowl hangover.
I'm picking Sentinel, of course.
I will say though, when it specifically comes to Haven, paper thin, talking about it on the desk, that A lobby control was so important for the one game that Genji did end up dropping on this map. I think that's where the Breach Sovacom is significantly better.
You see that A control given up, but nobody watching onto the high ground angle. Texture back in a way, still flashed up. Won't be able to get too much done here. And Genji not able to flood defense in time. Smokes up. Might be looking for a bit of a contact play, but a call for the pause is made by Sen. They're just going to wait this one out for the util. Still holding it down. Go spamming away. Still adjustment from Sassy. It's good. Leaves it just down to Meteor. 1v3 here for our pistol. Can he do it? First obstacle removed. Plenty more where that came from though. Revealed up just in the last few minutes. Reloads off. Turret up. Catches one of the contacts, but Sentinel's not willing to give them too much of a fight here. Sassy's so wide out into the open. 14 HP. Turret still up. Tens us to break this one. The single shot will do it.
Oh my god, Tens. Oh my god, man.
Well, there's a reason that this guy was the MVP for Shanghai. What a way to start things out. I was all ready to sell how well Sentinels had played that A exec. The early control, the hit into sight. Genji rattled, unable to get that.
Lock in, Dan.
And what did we just witness? The Red Bull clutch comes through in a spot that it should never. Yeah. I think we've got to start there. This is a situation where he should get traded every single time.
Gotta agree with that.
And the home crowd roars.
That's a 1v3 and Genji to continue that kind of dominance with the pistol round, starting it up. Conversion into the bonuses. Josh, you were chewing my ear about it. Yeah. Off in the green room, you know, we're talking about how good Genji team is when it comes to just being able to get those early advantages.
Yeah, if you want to let me nerd out for a moment there. Genji, our third best team when it comes to pistols at Champions, but they're amazing at converting bonuses. So assuming that they win this round, which Meteor is under quite a bit of pressure here.
Quite a lot, actually, overwhelming. Damage is being done to them, but it's been flooded in.
Wah, kiri nggak ke-clear aja.
Sealed up here. Spikes drop down. Zeltis, not much chances for him. He might go around the world to farm up some orbs, but...
And so look, Meteor is going to have enough to buy up a rifle in the next round. They've got two Guardians, Bulldog rifle. They're the number one team at Champions in terms of converting these bonus rounds. In round 3, round 15, where you've won the pistol and the follow-up. And I think part of that is because they take it so seriously. They have such incredible aimers. If they have a Guardian or a Sheriff in their hands, of these guys on Genji is remarkably good. I've seen that flash there.
A little bit of an Easter egg, I think, of things to come.
30 seconds left.
I think he's just looking to give away his body at the final moment. I mean, he has nothing really to play for, apart from that extra ult point that he could try to get online. And to be honest, he's not too far away from getting it early on in this map.
Yeah, and spotted out and finally cleaned up here. So, inevitable here, but now we can start to look forward to this bonus round.
Nggak pengen kaje ya, Sentinel.
They are, and I'll tell you what, I've been watching a lot of I've been watching a lot of Genji on Haven. I've watched all of Sentinel's Haven, but they haven't played it very much. So that's an interesting dynamic, isn't it? Because Sen are going to read into what they've seen from the VODs from Genji. And one of the interesting things is,
Turun satu tadi, parah banget.
instead of A. That's an interesting quirk of how Genji play this. And they have two different Viper walls. This one, the most standard, which is going to throw towards A. And then he has an aggressive one for A lobby, which I thought they might pull out. But here on the bonus, looking to try to punish anybody that takes a peek mid.
Bit of spam damage just laid down into the wall here. A lot of presence showcased here by Gen G. Texture's going walkabouts. Wants to make a go of things.
No cam tap.
Yep, no cam, no turret to catch that contact. Now the dash is active. They missed the timing. Right behind, no, still. It's a bullet straight to the back. Now, potentially an opening for Sentinels. We'll attempt to slow this one down. They want to try and get rid of most of this util. There's a fault line to try and follow through Zekken. Got a lot in his face here still. Nothing to really shut them down. Meteor dodging the flash, up and away! Looking snappy and magnetic into the moment. Still a TP forward. Sentinels not to be disallowed this, but pushing through to one way.
Whoa.
It is chaos incarnate. Down to that 1v2. Munchkin. Upgrade in hand. Now he's going to make the most of this.
Double
one here.
pick aja.
Sentinels can't afford to throw away these player advantage situations. Not like how the pistol round got started for them. Dart is good. Spots out Munchkin now, but he's got a lot more to do. Molly at the feet. Sassy. Push back and away and wide. Bit of spam and straight bullets away. Gets the reload off, but there's only 6 left to him. He's got to do so much with it.
Let's go,
Not
Dance.
able to, not against Sentinels there. In this instance, the discipline finally reigning supreme.
So there we go. Gen G unable to convert the bonus this time around. Still off to a decent start with some good damage done. That's going to knock
Let's go.
But I think
Bisa ini ngalahin Genji.
as we look towards the rest of this half is how the map control game plays out. You can't really run big C execs against Gen G. That's the power of the Viper Orb at the top there that they run. But it does make their A-holds weaker, I think. And the way that DRX was able to beat them on this map just recently in Pacific was by taking A-long control very consistently. You've always got John there with the cam to make sure if Gen G push down mid.
Kalau pakai Phantom memang bisa keloading apa?
In rounds like this, giving Gen G full A lobby control seems like a bit of a map control mistake to me from the side of Sentinels. But maybe they've got something very different in mind. It looks like they're setting up for another one of these garage splits.
At least just preemptively trying to get rid of some of the killjoy util. Turrets up, trying to spam one of the more common locations, but they don't actually know where it is. It's been shifted and moved along, so none of those bullets will be landing. Drone up through C. Makes it feel like there is some presence and pressure being pushed up into it, but a lot of players just now sitting outside through B, wall up in their face again, creating difficulties.
And if they do decide to pop B here, Munchkin's going to be there fairly early with a snake bite. They're trying to go back towards garage.
Texture. Oh, he's trying to play an off angle to get ahead of this util that they might use to clear this, and he is ahead of the phone line.
Wah, dapat 2 deh.
Just like that, pushing
Nice.
through to John QT, quick to equalize. The 3v3. Into the moment still with 40 seconds left. There is room to breathe. Bit of a pause is called. Cage falls.
Udah masuk.
Inside the wall. Munchkin was not ready for that.
Nice.
Ferrari Peak in action here.
30 seconds left.
Tap, hoping that the rest of these players
Nice.
can come swinging out of the open and at least it once
Run
more
C,
down
run
to
C.
BTL. 1v3. A miracle round for him on the pistol round that he did convert, but this one is a little bit more at least tougher
Ayo,
to chew
John.
through, isn't it?
Nice.
Contact caught by John, and he will deliver them the round.
Woo!
2 huge kills there from Sentinels. One from John, the other from Zekken, both in B main. And I think those are the 2 that really turned that in favor of Sen.
Gila, lock in.
Most of the time, I think that should be wraps.
Yeah.
And yet, really strong, quick aim coming out from John Cutie. And
Itu
Zekken
pelor
able to pick
kedua
off
bunuh
those Gen G.
Zelsis. Gak sengaja itu anjir.
Both Karen and Munchkin
Tapi
falling in those
dia
spots.
bikin
It just opens up the whole site for them. Gen G are going to have to respect that. If Sentinels are shooting,
dia
and they've
bikin
got a
dirinya
firepower
berada di
advantage
posisi
early
itu
on
ya
in this
worth
game,
it dapat
well, a
dia.
lot of things are going to change.
That's knocked Gen G down to that weaker buy. It's a good time to talk about, you know, the overall feelings.
Please,
heading into
jangan
this
kena
match, 'cause a
eco,
lot of people
please.
would, I think, pen Gen G as the heavy favourites. That's understandable considering Sentinels was slacking a little bit towards the end of stage 2. Ended up falling off a little bit, of course. Texture with the knives in his hands with the Blade Storm might be able to return at least some of it, but tagged up by the drone. You got to respect that. Backing away, it's a bait and switch though. Got to make the most of it. Meteor's back in there too, or in their face. Not thinking about it, but as it's dropped, Meteor is just out in the open, and this slow cautious
Gila.
tails
Mantap Phantom ah.
across the map. It's working dividends.
It is, but because they didn't take a long control early on in the round, and they don't have drone, it's going to be tough for them to end A here. So their choices are between B and C, and that's mostly where
Bentar.
Gen G defense is. There are still
Rombongan Genki
opportunities
gak
for
bawa
this to go
sofa.
well for Sentinels.
Rombongan Sentinel bawa
Some time on the
sofa.
clock. I'm not sure that John's going to be able to re-explore this entire area confidently. He's going to give it a go, though.
There's a stack of players at Gen G at least.
And
waiting for
what's the chances you run into the bucket?
Yeah, I mean, Josh should just be going down every day of the week, and so he does. An upgrade offered up, handle to them. Fault line into the corner as well, but you want to go into this one with a rolling thunder. It is committed, still as an orb and a snake bite in your face. Aftershock, narrowly avoided. Flick of the wrist, dodges the flash. Still, the reinforcements are here. This is the danger zone for Sentinels. You're walking straight into the maw, and it's only firepower. They're going to be able to bail yourself out. Texture can only do so much with that Sheriff in hand, and the plan has to be stuck down. Bullet spraying and praying away.
Nice. Anjir, aku kira dia masang di backside tadi tu. Ngeri banget, anjir.
But I'm really not liking the way that they're setting themselves up in some of these situations. Because they're not taking A control early on, they limit themselves so drastically in the late round.
Yeah.
Yes, they're able to barrel their way through there. And yes, it doesn't matter too much that John goes down to the bucky in short, but that got close and it had no reason to necessarily. They just found themselves stuck.
One by round. One by round. Let's go.
It's going to be all the more here. Texture's got the operator in his I think this is being tracked by Sentinels now. Got a sight set towards it. It's a drone. Texture's ahead of this though. The fall and he misses the flick. Ah, there's a dash into his face. How the hell do you avoid this? You don't.
Dapat dua.
Supplemented. TP up into heaven. Tens is there for the backstab.
Anjir, aku kira siapa tadi di atas.
And now you're just looking at a save.
That's so lovely. I mean, that's a
Let's
wonderful
go.
towards Hay there. Adding the
Orang semua megang Genki over Sentinel.
had an opportunity, but it was a tough flick to be able to get onto Zek, and he does the reverse peek, crossing over
paham, bro.
early. He is often good for those. His aim's pretty spectacular with the op, but this time Sen come out on top, and Zekan's got that killer instinct just to rush him down early.
Yeah, they are not scared, are they?
I was talking about how, you know, not fully convinced yet at the way that Sentinels are approaching the attack side, despite the fact that they've been good so far with rifles in hand. But if I'm looking at just the teamwork, coordination, their rifle aim, everything's looking very clean right now for Sen. And that A-take inspired a lot of confidence in me. So far, it's Gen G firmly on the back foot here.
Yeah. Sentinel's coming out swinging as well. Don't let that 4th seed in Americas fool you. What a finalized finish as well for them in stage 2.
They had a 6-map win streak at the start of stage 2. Yeah, it's something that I think people have forgotten because they went out ignominiously from playoffs. And they lost to G2 right before the playoffs as well. But they're still a competent team, and if you catch them on a good day, woe betide you.
Yeah. You think about this Sentinels team as well. It's all been leading up to this. The big moment here at Champions, the end of the year. They started their year in Korea with the Africa tournament, and now looking to potentially lift even a trophy, but maybe getting ahead of ourselves here. It's only day one, and it's only the first match. Tens punishing the peak there. At least they all pick up onto Munchkin. McCage up as well, covering the back of Tens.
So this is that Viper wall I was talking about. It's designed for A-long control, but they couldn't control the Tens teleports. Very cool anti there, I think, based on where they saw the Viper wall.
Karan, he wants to press forwards. He spots the barrel. He knows that there's a kill to be found. Will claim it. Double peak.
Nice.
Up, and the trade inside here for Sentinels. Seekers considered by Lackey now offloaded here just for that extra information, but Sentinels are still working with about a minute on the clock here. They can afford to just slow it all the way down, but Meteor
orang punya
have to be taken. He's the one pushing forwards most of his util. He needs to find a kill from it.
Surely he has a free one on Tens.
Backs to it. He's watching the wrong angle, but yeah, Tens unaware. That could potentially be crossed up here. Sentinel's going for that quick reaction now. Full speed ahead over towards the C site.
And without Munchkin alive, no Viper orb, C becomes much easier to hit. But
there's
always going to be that lockdown coming from Garage. How do you... not Garage, coming from...
Whoa.
What is that kind of placement? Just to make sure that it doesn't get contested?
I mean, Sentinel's going to be pushed all the way up onto site here. They can't actually fall back into the long angle flash. Dodge here, second has dropped. This is disjointed here by Sentinels. The aftershock has to get used now. Meteor wrapping behind. And a coordinated attempt. It works to full fruition.
Tadi Tens nggak aware dari Bing apa.
I can't say that I've really seen too many people popping it down there to go for the C retake. I was also watching Texture's POV. He had to dodge 2 breach flashes and Lakia's flash as well. He's spinning his crosshair left and right just to try to keep his vision intact so that he can help on the retake. But that's the first one with rifles in hand that Gen G get on the board. And it wasn't looking great for them until Meteor made that play walking down mid.
Iya, karena itu
play a
nge-push.
disadvantaged spot. Sometimes You got to take risks like that.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, he's all over the place.
So now Texture with op in hand, going to be taking that peek towards B as Sentinels look to take some A lobby control.
TP though, Lakia side by side. Him and Karon not ready for that one, are they? Zekken just catches one to the temple. Forced to back away. Texture's wondering which way to look.
You see that Tens went for the same teleport again, so every time the Viper Wall's been in this spot, Tens has tried to TP into this cubby. But this time, Munchkin wasn't just sat there in the open picking up an ult orb. They actually fought.
Scout destroyed.
Slow and steady. This time Genji
Orang AE keras-keras ya.
needing to take too many risky plays, wandering forwards here. The pit is going to be dropped at the minute mark. This is lovely. Supplements the defense.
But it also stops you getting any further info. I say that, but actually Karen, having gone on top here, is still going to be able to get info down short. So it keeps 2 players A on the defense side. But I think Zen are going to struggle to get through that.
They really are.
What are your options now? You haven't gone Garage, you haven't broken the Killjoy utility.
Well, Meteor. He's going to walkabouts here. Oh my, almost time for the peak there. Yeah, almost there with a punish still. Drone's going to be used to clear through into mid. Sentinels have only got 30 seconds to really work with into this one. Again with that player disadvantage. Tens TP up top and away. And he spotted his players completely unaware. Genji still lucky. He's got to get a handle onto most of this one. Caron pressing forward.
Nice.
Watch for Genji have toppled.
That is an amazing play from Sentinels. Genji always flood defend and try to pre-take over towards B. Zelsis tapped that knowing it was coming. I mean, he knew with 100% confidence that they were about to push through that smoke.
Trying dia nih.
Hard red.
3 lawan 1
There's the
literally
advantage of
3
having
aja.
those VODs to watch from
Enggak kan?
Pacific.
Yeah. Munchkin not interested in playing for this one as well. Just wants to keep the op into the next. It's a big tool they're going to be using for their defense rounds. Gives us time as well to talk about, you know, the general feeling heading into this one. It was already kind of mentioned on the desk with the map pool stuff, with Haven being played. It's a map that we haven't seen much of Sentinels at all.
No.
And there's a reason that they picked it here today. They feel like there's weaknesses to exploit on Genji's side. I would have to agree. When I was watching, it looked
Pas
like one of the
kemarin
weaker maps
di
for Genji, so
apak
great
kemarin
to mind.
serem banget.
Overall hot take
Genji
was
di
event that
di
wasn't
event.
quite as shored up as people were making out.
The weird thing about that, though, is I feel like we've seen Haven so little and from so few teams at an elite level that actually I still feel like Genji's Haven is up there, top 5, top 3 in the
Iya,
tournament.
strong. Harusnya event dia
Maybe
tuh.
I'll change my mind after watching more of other teams play, like Sentinels here. But, you know, Sen had only played it once before this, into 100 Thieves, and they lost fairly convincingly.
And so it's hard to tell, right?
It's really
small
tough to
sample
tell.
size, yeah.
It's tough to tell who's good on Abyss, obviously, but also Haven at the moment.
Ini dapat 2 untung, dia dapat 2 anjir.
And I think, you know, as we head deeper in this map pool, even more unknowns. The decider, if we got there, would be Abyss.
Oh, Abyss. I mean, I would love to see that map 3. Already into the round here. It's going to be quadruple face up in through mid. John QT stepping up late.
Nggak iko kan musuhnya.
Through into the B side as well, but a spam into the smokes, aftershock as well. Nobody's going to be able to press their way forwards and past.
Wah,
Tens
kena.
does get dropped. That spam, I believe.
Kena
Coming out
spam
through the smoke,
anjir.
Trailblazer spotting it. Paranoia rolling front out for the back. Nobody's watching this 1 second. He's going to be dropped here, trying to fight for the site control. It's all over the place. Sentinels caught completely unaware, and a spray down transfer just does not connect.
Nice try.
Falls once more. This time, it's Sentinels.
Mereka
Back
try
to that
B
spectator
lagi loh.
seat, and Genji maybe 1 step closer to making it equalized at the half.
Gua kira
Genji one step ahead
iko
there too.
Genjinya.
Notice
Enggak
how
kan?
Sentinels was spamming
Main ngeras
into the
mereka.
smokes, expecting Genji to be set up for that pre-take, for that flood defend. And instead Genji hold a little further back, not much, but just a little, in order to not die to that early spam and get a big retake off altogether. These minute differences in timings are messing with what Sentinels were expecting. And especially if you get a freebie like that early on. But look how unexpected that timing was for them to go through the smoke.
Yeah, the Rolling Thunder just to try and fight for one of the extremities there out towards B, just the slightest of timings that were off.
And that's how fast Genji adapt from one round to the next. It doesn't take them long.
There's a reason that they've made every single final so far this year. That's an accolade that not many teams at all can even claim. Munchkin trying to stop this one as well. Another B attempt and push in, spots the player, spamming away. Somebody's to cover this one down and below. Stunned up, matters not. Second, just walking straight into this one. Still Karan is out and
Whoa.
away. Karan
What the fuck?
delivers it side by side, him and Lakia. They push back any aggressors.
Masih hidup Karen ni kena
Spike
dua
dropped
di
down
situ,
into
dua
no man's
muncul
land.
loh.
There are no chances left for Sassy.
Seram kali anak muda
Another
itu.
spot where you feel like a Genji player's caught dead to rights, being double swung essentially.
Itu double swing
The
tadi tu.
leader in terms of any Rookie of the Year awards pulls it out again, a 2K. Just a slight wiggle of the movement too to
It's lovely,
shake
man.
off a few
Ni lawan
bullets.
Karen lagi nih.
Watching Karen is a delight.
This guy is so damn impressive, and he's even the one
Serem
to finish
banget,
it here.
anjir.
5-5, being that scoreline. You are right, you know, you're talking about that Rookie of the Year candidacy. I mean, there's not many that can really hold a candle to them. One of them is in this server with him.
Yeah, I mean, John would be probably second, maybe Woot, it depends what your argument would be, but they're both so far behind Karen they can't even see him in the race.
Yeah.
He's sprinted off into the distance, over the horizon. It would take one of those guys like John or Woot winning champs, honestly. to
Padahal
overtake
Johnny
the
wet
Rookie
swing
of the
wheel,
Year.
wet
Like you
swing.
said, Genji have been in every finals with a rookie player basically straight from ranked. That's insanely impressive.
Yeah, really never seen anything like it.
So 5-5, big recovery from Genji. Yes, they got the pistol, but it looked like Sentinels were in control in these rifle rounds up until recently. Sen going for a few too many plants on B.
Again, looking towards Garage. Seems like it's a pretty key part of what they're going for. Looking for a bit of spam into the corners, just in case there is that one of them held. Opang
Nice.
is caught on the cross, though. Trying to wade his way past that one. That's a leg shot. JonkQT barely surviving Seekers. Pushing forwards. Lakia smelling that blood in the water. He definitely wanted to hunt that one out. So it's equalized 4 versus 4. And it causes that reaction now out of Sentinels. But they're going to be walking again. It's a Paranoia. It's a Nanoswarm. It's an orb up in their face. Sentinels really don't have too many options here, but they're calling for the pause.
They have to go for the C exec once the orb goes down, but this just becomes so obvious.
Yeah, and again, the players are meeting their match. It's Genji happily able to just try and fight this one. Forwards, Hunter's Fury, though. That was the extra element needed. Lakia right from behind. Texture follows up with a shot, and still got to deal with these players. 2v2 now. 36 seconds left.
Nice.
Not enough with the offset of the movement. Lakia.
Dua lawan satu.
Texture 3 HP.
30 seconds left.
Looking this way, that way, head on a swivel, doesn't know which way to look. It's an impossibility almost at this point, but at least the spike isn't down. It's the one thing working for him, but the weaponry is not. Plant from Zelsis stuck, committed, needs to be held out
Spike
here.
planted.
Weak players all around. It's all about this first shot that lands. Finally, needs a second one. Dash now active, doesn't know where he is, and it's wrapped all the way round.
What the fuck?
Texture! You
Ah!
absolute
He's such an incredible player. Walking back into the backside of C, checking left and right on default. Pulls out
One
his
hit loh
shorty,
dia.
thinking that he killed the healthy player, realizes he's wrong, still has time, even when he guesses the angle incorrectly first, to readjust. It's just unbelievable watching these guys play sometimes.
individual game IQ. It's off the charts.
It really is.
Tiga HP-nya loh.
You know, we can see we've got a mini-map.
Yeah.
He's operating fully in the dark in this spot, and he's got a perfect read on that timing. Munchkin can't even believe his eyes.
Wow. What a delivery. Straight up a gift for Genji, but all from the hands of Texture. And still now, look towards it. The final round here of our first half on Haven.
Genji, you've got a 4-player stack on A. This is a hard read. All right, Sentinels have only been going A when they want to finish A. I think that's another flaw a little bit with the way that they've been doing their attack side calling. They're not really taking A control and then pivoting off elsewhere. Maybe this round they will, and maybe that'll be how they convert round 12.
Trailblazer broken, doesn't get concrete information. Just being held here by
4 di
Sentinels.
A. Defense-nya.
JonkQT and Zelsis looking to try and break some of this util up through Garage, maybe force and pull some of the rotations, but Genji firmly stuck in the mud. They are not drifting away from this A anchoring spot with 4 players ready to receive.
I think if they break the turret, it will have to pull people off A.
That's what they're going to be trying to go for here. JonkQT with 40 seconds
Asap
left. Broken.
They didn't move a muscle.
Only just now, Munchkin, a TP at least, it's faked out.
The hardest of hard reads.
yeah, I
a
mean-
Munchkin classic.
They think these
30
rotations have
seconds
occurred,
left.
but listen, Genji, they put up all the barricades. They are ready to receive every single player. Full line over and through. Lakia inside the Cloudburst plays. Once inside of it, the wall up in their face. Sentinels cannot step past it. It's up to Sassy and more. With only 15 seconds to do it. Your options are pretty much entirely ran out. Updraft and away, fade away with a Blade Storm. It's a flourish to finish, man. And only a few seconds remain before Gen.G take this lead from the half of Haven. No time on the clock to play with. 7-5 will be what we stare at.
Incredible end to the half there. The time ended up being
Nice
the
try,
worst killer
bro.
at tens.
Absolutely insane stuff.
Gila dikejar skornya.
What a way to open our first game at Champs. I feel like this rematch of Masters Madrid Finals is delivering. We've seen some awesome stuff.
Yeah, we certainly have. This has just been dominant, and what a return of the fire from Gen.G after a quite slow beginning, honestly, but unorthodox. But they are in the driving seat here for Haven. Sentinels map pick of our opening match of Champs.
Harus sambil liatin carku. Di PK orang berabe juga.
On the board in this series, it actually might not matter how good their Haven is, how good their Abyss is, if they wanted to close it out match 1 and 3. You still need those rounds to be able to get your halves off to a good start.
Yeah. Just take away one of those win cons from this Gen.G squad that's, I mean, they are determined. They want to be letting Warpath, man, to try and essentially lay claim to a dynasty, I would say, heading into Champs. This is a squad that, like we already mentioned, they've made every single finals this year that they could, possibly even make. And past that point, they've already lifted a trophy.
Absolutely.
The first one for Pacific. They've made history this year already. At this point, it's about cementing that legacy, that dynasty.
Yeah, Com, we heard earlier today, talking about legacy because he's going for that champions back-to-back. You know, Sassy for Sentinels, also looking for 2 champions trophies, one of only 4 players in this tournament who could. But on the side of Gen.G, I think if they win Champs, maybe if they even just make the grand finals, they have a very solid claim to being the greatest of all-time team. And that's with Fnatic still in this tournament, with a very similar roster to the squad that won back-to-back at Lock-In and Tokyo.
I mean, their consistency is just
Mon Zeken, aku ngarepin Zeken panas aja. Itu aja.
Makes it difficult to just
Zeken tukang gendong anjir.
a certain amount of time here, but Gen.G have been looking largely in charge here. The beginning here for our pistol round.
First half-nya kurang.
Slow for now.
Second half-nya, ayo,
Rolling
let's
up
go.
through mid,
Second.
looking to see if they can get any of those early angles, just in case somebody's peeking for info on Sentinel's side. There's a trip in their face. Texture, it's going to be chewed up by that one. A couple of stray shots.
Yeah,
It's flying in away. A tap as well for the reaction.
You can see there that Texture was intending to updraft onto the high ground inside that smoke. The trap stopped him. Cam sees a lot of this info, but it's only Zelsis home.
Yeah, peeking away. Just can't quite land the one shot that was necessary there. So Zelsis will push back that play that's occurring. The timing that's taken. Munchkin, oh, wide open. Right bit of taking. John QT's dropped.
So they tap B.
Aduh.
Fake C, walk in on A.
And it's an open site.
Paling benci dia obrak-abrik kayak gitu tuh.
Potentially a closed case, but
Mereka
still
kesini,
Sentinels,
kesini,
they do
kesini.
have that retake. Utility in their back pocket, just waiting for it to potentially come online. 17 seconds until the dart. Not too sure for the fault line. Dash still available. See if for Zekin in the back pocket. They're worried about these flanking players as well. Might find it difficult to get through, at least with this orb, but as soon as it goes down, you might see them take that timing. They are so concerned about these mid flanks.
Not ready yet.
And now the time to strike is here. Texture is way ahead of it, inside the smoke. Any sort of timings the Sentinels were looking to try and take, they've missed it already. Texture still.
Dapat dua.
That's two.
Bulan satu ya, berat anjir.
And no one from Genji is willing to even give him it. Ice cold from them, a tap onto the spike, no one out into the open. He has to stick it for the only win con. Genji.
Ah,
Almost inevitable that they claim once more another pistol round here.
And that pistol was remarkable. The fake onto B, tapping it after Texture had failed to get onto the high ground, trying to get simultaneous C lurks and A lurks working. I don't think either of them were designed as fakes. It's more just as see which one works, right? If the guy dies over towards C, probably the guy on A is going to be able to find a timing. And my god, what a timing Munchkin found. He also got in position to throw that orb deep towards CT. Soon as the orb goes down, Karen throws a smoke and Texture's inside of it. Every part of that worked beautifully.
Yeah.
The small details are hammered out so well by Genji. They've had a lot of practice, a lot of matches to be played this year.
Not willing to throw away that advantage that they've got. Winning that pistol round. Taking it nice and slow, hoping that Sentinels will peek into them.
The cam from John QT was positioned a little further back in the previous round. It's going to be getting them good information on this side of the map.
Yeah, Trailblazer. Just a check in case there are trips there. Clears the way through most of the side. Not sure if it cleared Zekin off into the corner. They don't like what they saw. Genji instead now moving over towards the B site. Flash overhead, no connection there. Karon will stick this one, and the gamble stack of Sentinels does not work out.
They got Viper Orb onto the plant. No Snakebite to work with, but double Nano Swarms as long as Meteor stays alive.
And everybody's looking all over the place here. Still Sassy is way ahead of the rest of his team, looking to try and trade this one. Kia is right there behind him. All the avenues watched, and everybody falls once more. So Genji, it's flawless on their anti-eco. Again, looking towards that bonus round. It's going to be more than healthy. Our kill leader of Texture.
ini kalau kalah bonusnya udah lah tuh, berat itu.
Just took over from Sassy, who's having a
Kalau
remarkable
game menang bonus, kalah sentinelnya di run by,
Genji failed the first bonus.
berat.
Even the best teams in the world, by the way, are still winning less than 60% of their bonus rounds. So it is a difficult round to be able to convert. But Genji with 2 bites at the apple here on this map, and a chance to run away with Haven.
Wall up. It's difficult to get the timing here. Zelsis is holding his fault line, but all the players are already way ahead of him. Sassy.
Right here.
That doesn't even stop them contacting.
There's no way.
Can't believe they didn't give it away there.
There's no way. They don't even spam. They're just all the way up, and it's all for free here. Paranoia, Flash, it's all offloaded, concatenated, out and over the top as well. It's down to 10s to hold it, locking it down. In through the back, the reset is magnanimous. This guy will not be stopped. He denies any attempt to take that A site.
Pakai jatuh, kelihatan nggak?
They should have
Run,
had
run,
that.
run, run,
A
run.
dash into sight. An amazing flash from Zelsis to actually push them back just
Sassy.
a moment. And Tens recovers after immediately being blinded in the midst of that exec. He's left on the floor in a 2v4.
That's what Sentinels needed. They're holding this one steady, giving up most of the A sites. Rifles are swapped around, noise is being made.
Gila, asik banget suara apa ya.
Plans not even pushed back here, so
Suara
Kalo will be able to
Phantom
get that extension into the round, and got to feel with Genji. That's sometimes dangerous. You don't want to give them those options and opportunities. Caron inside the smoke, not being cleared out, dodging, weaving, TPing away, still being watched for Meteor. 1v2. Meteor cannot land it. The transfer almost intact, but eventually it's Sentinels who paved the way to a victory.
And thankfully for Sentinels, all of Ten's hard
Itu
work
Ten
does not get discarded.
dapat
at the
3
final
tadi tuh.
So they bring that gap down to 3. A little bit of damage done, not too bad for the Sen economy, but they're going to take a tactical timeout here.
It's the first one of the match.
Oh, line up.
Really beautiful play from Tens, must be said. Second is struggling. I didn't even realize at this point, to be honest with you, because I felt like he was getting into sights fairly well. But he's 5 and 13.
Yeah, struggling quite a bit.
Iya, second harus
one of those
nunggu
players
second
that-
panas.
Yeah, from a map-to-map basis,
Come
maybe
on,
you
come
could
on,
argue
Zakan.
he's slightly inconsistent. Only slightly. But to be honest, in every major tournament, he's always the highest performing player for Sen. And he's
Kalau
actually
dia
gone
balik
up
kayak
in
Madrid
terms of
kemarin,
success
habis
all
semua
year.
tuh.
Just tournament on tournament, from kickoff to Madrid to stage 2, putting up better and better performances. So to see him at the bottom of the scoreboard right now,
Madrid kemarin the
it's a
best
little
second.
concerning, but if he wakes up, it could be the difference maker. I think that's something you've got to be taking a look at here, is whether Sen want to get an op into his hands, and whether they can from an economy perspective too. He's been buying the Outlaw in the last few rounds here, but he hasn't quite been where Genji are looking.
No, the money's just been slipping quite tight for them in terms of them just trying to get that operator. You can see, opting even for the Outlaw here, you know, getting that sniper into the hands of at least a Jet player. It's tried and true at this point on Haven. It's got to be a key part of your defensive protocols. But yeah, it's a bit of a bargain bin buy, isn't it? And only the 1 half armor target
Kalau-
attached yet.
Yeah, it's
Apa sih
unlikely to
nama
find too
weaponnya?
much success. He's also been running it
What is
C.
this power thing that's been pinged down by Genji? It's going all the way through garage and through the back of it.
Toxin screen down.
See if they make a go of it. Of course, not running a Killjoy. It's going to be gaps potentially there. We'll see if Sentinels are able to cover it.
Just to look at the other side of the map as well. Recon Dart finally thrown out 20 seconds into the round. Because if you throw it out early, the Viper Wall is really disguising it. Zekan almost caught contact, and Munchkin's lurked his way up again. I'm not sure which one's even going to be the game changer here, A or C.
Oh, Ten's going for the peak as well as Barrels. Pointing out, he's trying to bait a shot out. There's no way. There's absolutely no way Munchkin can be blessed like this once more.
Man.
Launching over towards the A site. We're watching a bloody repeat. He's opened it up and calls for the TP. Immediate pivot. Caron, he's straight there with him. Turret broken down into mid here, but the A site is theirs. Now with texture removing John. The mid avenue completely opened up. That uncertainty into the back of Sentinel's minds, but they want to go this one thick and fast. Playing forwards here, at least with the dart in hand, and the rifles are not doing enough. It's Sassy and Zelsis up against the world. They're not being given even an easy fight in the slightest. The movement ajar. Forced to save.
Laki
Zelsis
mulu si
backing
apa
away.
si Tens.
And that is
Lagi
a
nge-smoke.
brutal decision for Sentinels. Not one that they could have won at all, but their economy's going to be in a really rough state. Zelsis has got a bit of money, so has John. The rest of the team, dirt poor. Think about the way that Munchkin is getting space down short, right? If Sassy throws a recon dart at the start over towards A lobby, Munchkin's just going to play around his wall, and he's going to dodge it, and you're not going to get any good information. In fact, you might even get bad info and think it's cleared when it's not. So they need a different way of being able to get information there. You're either going to have to re-clear with the Sova drone from short, or you're going to have Zekan fight that. And Sentinels have not chosen either option. For all that they've got the rounds really close here, I think there's a ton of things that Sen could improve on this map if they ended up rematching Genji later on in the tournament here. Or if they can figure it out mid-game.
Anjing baru mulai.
Early spam goes either way here. Zekan's dropped down to 48 health. Still ice cold. Watching for any sort of mid presence.
One of those spots where you might want to just give the gun over to, to your teammate. It's rough though, because Zekan really wanted to try to get aggro, but with only 48 health, what can you do?
And already the space is taken up here by Genji. Another perfect read.
Munchkin's IGL in, it is magnificent. I think people maybe didn't credit it as much at the start of the year, but defense side hard reads, attack side he finds the gaps so
I mean,
often.
these lurks on top of it, it's all
incredible.
coming together. This guy is just, he's a beast right now this entire year.
He really has been.
Deep flash, fault line onto texture, but there's plenty more util where that came from, buckets of it. Paranoia for a paranoia, just pushing them back and away. Sentinels be lucky to get anything. Still, Charon, drop towards the back, texture, phantom play! And that's a fall, he's stolen away!
Nice try.
Another ace! Gotta feel for him, man. You gotta feel for him.
This has been happening in Pacific over and over again. The last ace that Texture got was in April, man. He's had 12 4Ks.
Smiling. Oh my god.
He's had 12 4Ks since his last ace. Look at him. This one should have been it.
It should have been it. It should have been it.
Should have finally ended. He's so funny.
Oh man.
I do love Texture. But can Sentinels find an answer? Now that they've got rifles back in hand, the gap has opened up to 5. It's almost looking insurmountable. It has to be now.
It has to shift now, doesn't it? Updraft, dash, up and over. Flash to follow it up as well. Nobody's in sight lines of texture. It's given up almost entirely and it's put the squeeze onto the Sentinels player. They heard all that util. They don't know which way to look and they can't even get the kill drips online. Full line. That's a potential team utility to just colliding and clashing.
Telat.
Hunter's Fury. It's panicked. It's offloaded. And
Telat
desperation
ultinya.
does not work out for Sentinels. Not this time. They did not know how to react to that.
Got your trail.
Very nice pathing to bring out in a crucial round, and Texture's looking to close it.
And he's just
Only
right in his
10s left.
face. Right click but followed up by Lucky.
Kenapa pas teman yang nggak diras tadi nggak ngulti ya? Kenapa pas pada udah mati bareng ngulti ya?
And I think if there was one round you could point to show that divergence of
Menurutku
trajectory
sih
we were talking
telat.
about at the start of this cast, where Genji have just gone from success to success, building on their grand finals appearance at Madrid, compared to Sentinels who've struggled really to recapture that magic. I think this round would be it. A beautiful call, fantastic pathing, and Sentinels scrambling their protocols falling to pieces. Second tactical timeout now used by Sen.
Yeah.
It might be too late at this point. Their weaponry is so poor. They've got to try to contest short to make sure the Munchkin doesn't go for the lurks, but then they've also got to be able to defend the C site where they don't have nanoswarms, they don't have the Viper to be able to work down there. They're probably not going to have 10s hard anchoring that spot. There's just so many questions being thrown at them. They do not have the answers on this side of the map.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Not just the fact that Sentinels have now got to do it with, again, weaker weaponry, not down to half armor, it's Bulldogs, it's Guardians in play. But just the ideas that you were mentioning. You know, they can't contest with Munchkin. He's been able to get free reign over towards A lobby, in through the A site, these lurks and timings he's taking. And it's so hard for Sentinels to even control this one. Typically, you'd want to do it with potentially like a jet op, but they haven't been able to get the money together. And even if they did, there's a Viper wall in their face.
Exactly. Yeah, I must say that as well. Even if Zekken does fight short against that Viper wall, it's really tough.
Yeah.
You have to be very smart, but also very aware that you can have that Viper wall dropped on you at any moment, and Munchkin can threaten a fight. Best duelist in the world can take those fights, and Zekken is capable of doing that kind of stuff. But Sentinels have decided they need him in garage, maybe to try some kind of early peek.
Anjir, kukira 3 tadi dia pasang trap.
Genji.
Nah, dari tadi main 2-3 kayak gini harusnya asik sih.
Plays are called. And this is Genji looking for that closer.
Tapi Genji-nya ngebaca B pasti kosong.
Celsius is watching this. Smoke up in his face. Flash up and over, Karen with a TP and even a committal to the plan, but that's an aftershock to push him back and away. Dash still there, Zekken spots it, here's the one, but nobody's giving him an easy fight. Meteor dashing and backing away, still with his B-side control, texture, he's put straight past it, and in front of that fault line, still won't survive. He's with the trade there, Flash in and through, over the back, 4v4. Pat down, Norofef gives him that information, and a sight hold might be exactly exactly what Gen G are looking to cook up. Munchkin still with that orb up in their face. Dart and a paranoia follows through, flooding back and away. Sight players cleared up, rolling thunder, committed now to the front. Sentinels have got to try and strike at least when the iron's hot and try and find these kills. There's one, two left to deal with, finding them one after another.
Nice.
Around exactly when they needed it. Just as Gen G had got up to map point. We saw the same level of ideas from Gen G there. Going for the B exec, okay, that gets stunted by an aftershock from Zelsis. Let's try to pivot and crunch the player's garage. That also gets shut down by Zelsis. Then the breach ult is online. It's just a massive round from the Vibes Merchant. Selling wins as well here, but he needs to be doing more of it. The whole team needs to be doing more of it. It's not just down to him.
No, I can't really focus on individuals, despite the fact, you know, Zekken is sitting at the bottom of the scoreboard. It's been a while since he's even got a kill.
Hey,
It's
Zekken.
more just the idea is going to miss. Come to offer any sort of bailout.
At the same time, you do want to be putting your duelist in a position to influence the round, right? And so the fact that we haven't really seen Zekken in those spots is a bit concerning. You know, again here, he's looking to try to find fights over towards B, and Gen G are heading in a different direction.
Trailblazer is never getting broken. It's just being given free reign to clear the way. Give space for Gen G.
I think you're worried in that kind of spot. If you break the Trailblazer, the texture's right behind it.
And that's an interesting peek. Still Zekken makes the adjustment.
There's
Snaps
the
it to the
value.
cranium, and there is the value. It had to come about through that sheer mechanical skill.
Here comes Munchkin. He's trying one of these classic A-lurks. Tens has been watching for it. He refuses to get duped again.
But there's a chance for the timings.
Kalau mati lagi gara-gara ini.
Untung
Untung aja.
Mirrored plays from Tens and Zekken. Pushes Gen G back. It's just lurks and
double
lurks.
lurk.
Yeah.
It's the same
my.
again. Lurk up A and lurk up C at the same time. One gets broken, the other doesn't.
Yeah. Trip broken. Meteor. It's got an open side for them.
30 seconds left.
A 3v5 though, Brent. They're not going to close out the map here, surely.
But it's Gen G. You never know with this team. They really shouldn't.
Full breach.
Tak ada yang nge-flank anjir.
Sassy's going to have recon coming back online, but you probably don't want to wait for it.
Wah,
The first shocky.
hidup satu.
Preemptive at least for the debt, so one of the Nana Swarms is off. Meteor finds it, still traded. Charon, that's a sweep from behind here now. The backstab, but maybe just pushing back in the way. Lakia needs support and he needs help if this is even going to be doable. Flash in through the box, smoke is up in his face. A tap in his way, that's a bit of spam to follow up. Charon, and now a lot more to do. Spike being defused,
Nice.
stuck fully in Tens there to defend him. Sentinels are still
Bisa yuk,
alive in this
bisa yuk.
map. They're not going to be going down one map just yet.
6 chances for Gen G to close. Now down to 4. The Sentinels pick up 2 retakes. Both times happy to allow Gen G to get into the site, but then making sure that they deal with any extraneous threats. I mean, in this situation, they had a big player advantage too. It was a nice
Slow
shot.
banget anjir.
He's going to now pick up the operator heading into round 21. This is, I think, the first time that we've seen him with an op in hand, right?
Tapi slow-nya bersih.
2 outlaws earlier.
It's definitely
Frame-nya nggak hancur anjir.
salvage that money together, but he's found many targets. Still a smoke in his face. We'll push him back. Not going to be given that early sight line. Texture's even watching just in case he is updraft up onto the box. They don't like what they see. And they got to know that the money is available for that operator. It should be at the back of their minds as long as they're looking at the scoreboard.
That flash, down A short, and now the Trailblazer indicating that Munchkin did not find an early timing. Sentinels were not sure, but now they should have a good idea that this is actually the pack of Gen G.
How do you anchor it? Locked down. It's unconventional. Doesn't really stretch all the way out towards this A side. Sassy, drone, spots it. They're wondering if this is potentially fake pressure. Tens overstaying it, just about escaping. 50 HP though, and now it's being fully committed. The molly at their feet as well. They are separating these
Whoa.
players, picking them apart. Nobody is allowed to anger this site. Instead of an execute, the pin drop down, man. And Tens has got to make a play. He's already
What
done
the
it
fuck?
with
Ada yang
it.
jagain belakangnya coba. Oh,
Leaving it to the two.
di mainnya rupanya.
And only the Blade Storm. A rifle for John QT. They're going to need to be handed a couple of easy kills, but Meteor will not give them anything.
Ah,
A 4K to finish up the map. Haven is theirs.
nextnya apa?
Around Meteor.
Asen.
Rifle in.
Degree of sense. They had
Woo. Woo. Johnny in the sky. Da-da-da-da-da. 'Apaan nih tim produksi ya? La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. Apa lagu yang gak copyright anjir? Ini copyright. Banyak aku lagu Jepang tuh. Iya, selera aku sih. Antoni Anaista Tudu itu sampai malu.
I think they did a really good job of varying the pace of their retakes. We saw a lot of those fast flood defenses that they're known for, but also a lot of slower rounds where they were leaning into those set retakes on B, on C that were also really effective. Sentinels in Madrid was known as a team that was great at disrupting teams' retake attempts, and I think it was really impressive how Genji was able to shut that down and still find success on these set plays.
Yeah, I'll say one thing. When we swapped sides, though, when we were seeing Munchkin with those lurks, I mean, that was devious. Guy gave him no quarter whatsoever, Clinton. Like, no. Is that what we should be expecting as we get ready for Ascent?
He doesn't do it as much on Ascent.
Okay.
It's more like a Lotus, Haven, like some of the maps where he has a little bit more room to maneuver kind of thing, but it's because he does such a good job preparing. He works his absolute butt off studying these teams. Like they talked about it in Shanghai where everybody else is playing ranked and grinding, and he's out there with an iPad just watching teams 16 hours a day, just trying to get reads on them. So that's part of the reason he's able to do some of these lurks.
Jeez.
And I mean, some of these rounds Genji were winning were honestly criminal. The pistol round and this texture clutch that we just watched were stolen, quite frankly. But it just shows that, well, Genji is known for the honest Valorant, the really good setups and team play. Their individuals are ridiculous to pull rounds like that off. If those two clutches didn't come through, this would have been a lot closer a game, and I think would have given a lot more opportunities for Sentinels to build some momentum into this.
Yeah, well, and that goes back to what we talked about in the pre-show. That Genji wins round, they have absolutely no business winning.
Yeah.
And this happened in the pistol, it happened in that round with Texture, 3 HP. He's the one peaking those angles with the ops, too. They're holding in one case, Tens is just holding that angle, and Texture still wins that battle. That's how fast he is. And moments like that is what make this team so difficult to go against, because you can be as prepared as you want, you can set up great crossfires, you can do a lot of good things, and Genji can still break.
I do think it does bear mentioning, though, that this was kind of something we saw in Americas as a problem with Sentinels. These slow starts. In their 2 matches that they ended up losing, they only won 2 pistol rounds in them. And it was the same here. They're losing out on pistols. They're starting slow. They're not getting the opening picks and setting, I think, Zekken up for those big moments he's known for. And this is a really scary prospect, I think, now going into a map 2 against a team who looks like the best in the world.
Well, you know, you mentioned Zekken. I think you saw his stats at the bottom there, and I think it wasn't, like bad necessarily from him, but it was what you were saying.
I think it was by his standards. He's normally lights out like that.
Well, I was going to say that we praised him for his consistency, but something you had noted was he never really had an opportunity to like get going, you know? And I think that again is just another credit to Genji for being able to identify that, shut it down, and handle business.
Yeah, I mean, there were rounds like in the final round, he's got the Blade Storm and stuff, but the round's basically over by the time he gets there. Like, Genji is doing such a good job of picking players.
Level apa nih?
Those early picks. I mean, the first blood for...
Nonton Valorant, nonton Champion, nontonin orang main, bang.
Those things create tremendous problems for any team they go against, whether it be Sentinels or anybody, and you're left scrambling to try to find answers.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I think it goes without saying that this Genji team is so well put together. But now, let's go ahead and see what we're going to get as we get ready for map number 2, Ascent on the horizon here. With Ascent, not much changes with this, right? Because we know what that bog standard is usually going to be. But you look at this, you look at Genji and the way that they're playing.
Main
This
FF,
is
bang.
dangerous territory right now for Sen.
Enggak, aku enggak main FF.
Starting on the defense,
Enggak pernah main FF aku. Main Apex, main Kalo, main Battlefield, main apa lagi ya? Itu doang. Game-game PC doang aku, bang. Game HP itu jarang.
to prep if this is the idea they are committing to.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that because I don't think there's going to be any change in what Gen.G does on this map in terms of agent comps. I'd be shocked. I might have a heart attack and fall off the stage if they do, because they're.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Let's get the cameras on you for that one. You know?
Yeah, please don't. But no, I mean, like, they're the best team in the world on Ascent in my book. They were undefeated on it in Stage 2 of Pacific. Very few teams have been able to beat them. So it is going to be the kind of comps that both teams have been running with. And for Sentinels, I think for me, the biggest thing about Deadlock is you have to be so smart with how and when you're
Waduh,
placing
main
your utility and
Deadlock
how you're playing.
masian.
It almost, in a weird way, reminds me of Yoru, where it requires a tremendous amount of coordination and a tremendous amount of discipline to play it properly, but if you can pull it off, it looks amazing.
I think Deadlock is really strong on the attacking sides, how you can stop flood defenses, how you can set up those sensors to really build incredibly strong post plans.
Mark win 100%, Compic 100%, 2-time fly. Mark win 0. 3 times fly, Compic 100%, attack win 68%. Anjay, 68% tuh rata-rata dia menang. 68% kali 68% dari 3 match. Jadi sekali dia bet.
They're right there to be able to get that revenge against a team that, you know, has been their kryptonite from time to time, at least once.
We heard it from the coach, the only team who has beaten Gen.G at a global event. If they could get their revenge to start this champs run in Seoul, would be massive.
Yeah, that's right. Gen.G just one map away from avenging their loss at Masters Madrid. Let's see if they can pull it off in front of the home crowd and send it back over to your casters, Brennan Sideshow.
And Gen.G are the heavy favorites here. I mean, this is an Ascent map that they are potentially the best in the world at, I think, currently, for teams at the event. They look so damn good, and for Sentinels, as much as there's not been a lot of tape on them with this comp, it is not a good map right now for them. They have to come out with some miracles, and it has to start here with the pistol round.
They've gone for that double sheriff approach.
Wah, harusnya 2 itu.
Straight from tiles.
Harus dapat 2 itu.
Work out in their favor. Play at disadvantage now.
Munchkin
Tengok Munchkin nih.
figuring out, how can I go for a lurk against this? It's a decent counter to what Munchkin was doing on the previous map, but also the fact that the wall is used so early. Generally, you want to be playing slow attack sides against the Deadlock, and the wall struggles to get value.
Lakia might be considering a drone up close here. John, was that a grab net? Slow down the approach here. There's a flash overhead as well, but now looking to try and anchor back in a way. Sassy supplementing it. Couple of shots now fired off and Rasseled in through the smoke. No punish just yet. Still dropping down low, but it all lays down now into the lap of John QT. What can he do? A lot of players now here in the drop down, skipping a hot right through, and it does set up the bait and switch. Caron happy to oblige. Straight in there. Now the plant coming online.
Coming around behind as well. Are they going to think about B main when they just exec from this?
Crossfire, it should be nice. Not quite. Munchkin was the only one to actually collect any sort of B main presence. Now walking his way through, baiting, Texture, dropping back and away, Texture, and Caron. These guys have been difference makers. And once more, they're going to stand to the test here. The dart is avoided and dodged to the back, and the shots just not connecting for Sassy. Only 4 HP and a dream it will just remain to be. It's a pistol round for Gen.G. Nothing out of the ordinary for this squad.
Not at all. 3 out of 3 in the series. I think it would be wrong to say that
Menang semua mereka pistolnya. Sentinel kayak tai pistolnya.
But an entire series where you don't win pistols is almost impossible to win. Sen need to be working on these. They didn't get a good beginning to it, and Gen.G managed to close it out there towards the end as well. Just hitting good shots, double body shots all over the place with those.
Ente.
Gamble here by Sentinels. Knife not dodged just by Zelsis, I believe. He's the only one who looks like he is suppressed right now. Hoping that Gen.G might just walk into it, but yeah, listen, they weren't born yesterday, but this team are too diligent.
It's quite a nice trap play though, because if the cam is found over towards B, you're expecting trap plays to be run off the Cypher cam usually, and this one's off Deadlock contact, so I think there's a chance that it gets value, especially considering Munchkin and Karen's positioning. But right now, they're not taking an inch.
No. No steps forwards.
Sabar kali bawah mana.
Making either team stew, to be honest. It's a series of unknowns.
Wah, mid semua. 3 orang midnya.
This whole trap is going to fall to pieces.
Paranoia in his hands. He's just jiggling out with the util. Does get a good connection. 3 players going to be pushed back and away, and a TP as well for himself. Just to disengage. Grab net calling. The play is made. Kalo!
What the fuck? 3 orang kena Sheriff.
Goodness me. Even when the ideas are good, even when they try and go for the preemptive strike, it's still not
3 orang kena Sheriff. Apa tadi tuh di amennya tuh?
Show it from his POV or something, man. I mean,
the amount of 4Ks that we're seeing coming out from Gen G as well.
Bukannya tadi dia kena lempar yang bikin
Karen's got 8 kills
jongkok
already.
itu ya?
What on earth are we watching?
Nih kena lempar dia nih.
Tuh. Take a look at these shots. Gravnet comes out.
listen,
Anjay.
dude, I mean, come on. I know it's against an eco, but still, as a Gravnet, he's locked down.
Dia juga megang Sheriff doang.
He's cold.
Sentinels, Odin
Serem
comes
kali
to
emang.
Sassy. He can try to reinforce the B site. It's super difficult to get through right now. A nice shock dart from Lakir as well,
Yeah.
getting rid of that sonic sensor. I don't think John pulled it back in time. B looks devastatingly difficult to hit though, especially if Sassy was Odin wallbanging this, but he is rotating off.
Yeah, timing potentially missed there. 4 Sentinels up through mid. Gen G has the makings of a B split, putting a lot of pressure and asks onto Zelsis.
So the cam covers this. Off cam contact, Sassy can spam, but it's not a great spam angle. It's
Nice.
good for damage, not good for kills usually.
That tags onto Zelsis. The setup is going to be dropped down and away here, walking through.
I said
Dapat
that.
satu.
Bit of spam
Dari
damage.
mana dapat dia?
Just through the choke point. Gen G still going to get easy access
Oh,
though to
spam di
that B
situ.
site. So Plan will be online and inside for them. Second, biding his time, hoping that somebody will just open themselves up. But as the doors drop down, texture.
What the fuck? Apaan dah?
There's no way. Running and gunning inside the cloudburst. Taking names. 4v4. Too much to clear.
Wah, ini susah nge-clear ini.
This is unorthodox in terms of the angle.
Bukan.
And of course it is. Rips them all away.
Susah nge-clear itu tuh.
Dismantling all of the trap setups here, taking out the cam early, making sure that Sassy doesn't have that wallbang spot. He goes over, gets a kill in the other side, and then Gen G are pulling kills out of really unexpected spots. The one from Texture, I'm sorry, that one's illegal. That one is illegal. But Meteor's play as well, it's so nice. They've got Karen ready to back him up if indeed he needed it.
Yeah.
Texture is also there playing aggro. It's not just a solo play, that. And yet, even if it was a solo play, he still would have won the round for them. That's the power of this Gen G team.
Right here.
Each of their players has got such a nice read on the game. And I think we don't remember enough what player development they've done too. Meteor was a bit of an all-aim, no-brain duelist player before he joined his team.
Certainly was.
Now, all of the aim and a brain to match.
Yeah, and a team as well that's just right there beside him. All on the same page. Cooking up plays together. They're aware of just any obstacles that might face them as well. You can see it just the way that they even approach rounds like this. It's against an eco round. A lot of teams will sometimes just run it straight into a site. Full disrespect. But Gen G, they slow it down. They make sure that they can methodically try and pick apart what these Sentinels are doing. If there were any concerns, I think, about Gen G potentially being shaky and home soil and a home crowd. Listen, that was kind of pushed back at Shanghai when they were literally the villains. All the way through, it's an open side again over towards A.
Siapa yang nembak? Tens ya?
Yeah, what?
Crowd, listen, that was kind of pushed back at Shanghai when they were literally the villains.
Huh?
All the way through, it's an open crowd. Listen, that was kind of pushed back at Shanghai when they were literally the villains. All the way through, it's an open side.
Crows.
The idols, man.
Lihat belakang
The
tadi
idols,
apa ya?
man,
Karen
on
ya?
the big stage.
I was walking in today, and as they rolled up, some fans, it's like the back of the building where people don't really, you know, think to come. It's not like Gen G announced what time they were going to arrive at the venue.
Yeah.
People, fans from Seoul, clustered, watching them exit the van, screaming at the Gen G players. This team is popular out here.
Absolutely.
And they'll be even more popular if they have a big run at champs, or even If we can dare to dream, if they can dare to dream, lift the trophy.
They've already done it once. First time it's been done for Pacific. That was Gen.G who did it. Despite the expectations, I think most of us were probably looking towards a team like PaperX, maybe even DRX at points to be that team. But they've had a crazy story from the beginning of this year where the expectations were honestly at their lowest here, and a lot's going to be asked for again of 10 to smoke down. What is that? Adjustment and expectation for Texture, but he's already in through the site. And the main players happy to fire through and follow up on all of it. So despite the heroics, it might not even be enough here for Sentinels. No command. Supers its way, but
pakai
finally
OP
fading, and now
gimana
very deep
retake-nya ya?
lockdown is going to be used by Meteor. Drone broken, slide tag, double faced up and out, but just missing the shot.
Are they even going to get out?
I don't know. Detainment
All
onto
three?
yeah. Or three.
All three
Time to hunt.
detained?
It's time to chase. They know it. They can feel it. Texture. Time waits out. Oh my. Barely skirting away. It's going to be a comedic finisher around here, potentially. A punishment in sight. There's still time here for Sentinels to make a play towards this one, but second retake, but the operator again adds another level of difficulty. It's all about how they manage this one as well. That late backstab that might be occurring from Meteor. Is it going to be caught? Zelsis sticking out onto the fuse, half already. He's brought that WinCon, covering for it.
Nice.
Over the shoulder, Zelsis dropping it.
Oh,
There is no way
That's
that
ridiculous.
Sentinels have just won a round where all three of the retakers got detained. There is no way that I just watched that. There's no chance. I must have got something wrong. Surely that was John Cutie's ultimate. What?
The Yeah.
brain is
gila
baffled
kenceng
and
banget si
befuddled.
Tens ini.
It all started with tens. This guy here. I said he's going to have to do a lot there in that spot, and he did. He delivered. He got the two that was needed. And as soon as the detainment wasn't followed up on, offered up an easy kill onto Texture.
I mean, it's not like Texture really could have followed up on it, I don't
No, it was
think.
so far away.
All right, so that's a bizarre round for Sentinels to get on the board. I don't think you'll ever see anything like that one again. Certainly not replicable, if you want to talk about that. But they keep the Odin. It's magnificent for their economy, which could have been shattered.
Always a way. Start gassing up a team in terms of the storylines about them lifting trophies, and then watch the fumble in place. Operator held, but not the back. Still a few shots fired off as well. That drone has to be broken. Celsius locks it down, holds the line, and now evacuates back and away. The adjustment of the
Aduh,
bullet
miss.
straight through the wall, and spam from the Odin will supplement all.
One enemy
That is
remaining.
it.
Go.
Sentinels,
Spike down,
complete
B.
control of this B site. Spike dropped down, and with the trip alerting them exactly to where Munchkin's presence is. It's another round that's inevitable here for Sentinels, and at least that second one, Justin Flick missed, at least with the op.
It is inevitable.
It should be. Unless you give him the ones, we're blinded up. Ten's happy to just jump on the chance and pounces straight into mid. So maybe this is what we were looking for from Sentinels.
That was a better defensive setup. When you're running a Cypher deadlock composition, I think most of the time you're going to be wanting to try to hit them as they come through choke points or as they hit your utility. You're looking to follow up on trips, on stuns, to op them or Odin them before they even exit and get into the site. That's one of the rounds where we actually see Sentinels comp functioning. And because Celsius was able to win a really crucial duel
Jadi
against
kalau
Meteor
mati, Zekennya tak tahu aku dah.
So what have Gen.G got? It's going to be Zekken looking towards top
Tapi
mid.
nggak itu mid?
They can get a cheeky one at the beginning against somebody like Meteor.
Drone up though. This will push him back. It needs to be broken by the rifle fire, but it's not done in time. And almost a punishment there. It was an over the top with the knife.
Telat
Almost
dikit
getting that
aja
suppression off,
meninggal
not being
anjir.
able to escape.
Look at this deep trip though. The trip is not where that shock dart just went for it. It's all the way close towards mid. Almost right where Meteor's back was.
Yeah, so lucky a shock darts that he's fired off, offloaded into mid. Not going to be getting too much value. Tens has to use the TPs, barely out of dodge annihilation. There's a connection. Molly down and
That's the
through.
spike.
Texture has to drop them. He's through and out. They're going to try and flood themselves in. Gen.G happy to fight them straight back at you. Second, Bladestorm now increasing that tempo and even offered up a rifle. Charon now with the plant. 2v3. Dart fired off. No reveals in sight, but jumps round and through and away with a right click. Zekken. He's
Come on,
his way
come
to
on,
an ace.
Zekken.
But Lucky in his back pocket, at least with that Hunter's Fury, he's got that backup plan and policy. Charon still going to be nested up, holding deep tucked onto
Wah,
the A
itu
side. It's
naik dia ke
quite
atas.
bright and clear. Sentinels now making a call to double up. They've
Oh,
got
di
the
bawah.
time, 20 seconds until that
Pikir
arrives.
dia
It's
naik
gonna
ke
be too late.
atas anjir.
They try and wait this one out and through. Time already ticking. Smoke is just mind games from Karon, making them spam away, and they got to stick this one here, and they still haven't found it. Wincons are just dashed away to the wind.
Time?
And there is no time. Ticking at this point. Sassy knows it. Gen G with their 5th.
We are seeing some ridiculous situations out here.
Come on, Jacken. Come on, Jacken.
Taking out Karon with the Hunter's Fury towards the end, but just making sure that Sova ult was in play, just in case his his Smokes player fell in hell. Gen G take another one. And this is a round where it looked like Sentinels, again, their system was working. They got the Annihilation off. It grabbed a player with the spike. But I don't think they were anticipating as heavily that it was an A split and someone could retrieve that player. Pulled out of Shelob's grasp at the final moment. And we're into the next round, where Munchkin, I think, is the player to watch here. That null command is spectacularly powerful against Sentinel's composition. And you see here that John has put his stuns on the exact opposite side of the map.
Hoping if the ult does get ripped off out towards the A site, they'll be able to at least play around, like you said, the sensors, the stuns.
In some sense, Zelsis is the bait here. He kind of wants to be seen, be shown, and then you run into A and forget about the deadlock util.
Right here.
Knife over the top. Tag out through main darts. Meteor.
Waduh,
barely
satu
alive.
hit anjing.
Dicing with death there, buddy.
Literally satu hit.
Drop down to 8 health. Will be able to survive though, and now regroup with the rest of his team.
A split, null command. Watch out for these sensors.
Yeah. The pressure's going to be on immediately. What have they got to even answer this? Flash clear. Cam over the top here. No command as well as the dart. Does reveal all. Both players, in fact. Tens and Zelsis, the position is noted. Recognized, stunned up, but there's no follow-up. Tens, he can't take these easy fights. He's worried about it. Being swung from main as well. Picked apart. I mean, methodical is what you call that.
What the fuck, bisa tiga-tiga masukin dapat.
There's no fair fight to be taken for the anchoring players. Dodging and weaving the entire way through.
Itu di mana ya rekonnya ya?
No command as well as the dart.
Tuh.
Does reveal all. Both players, in fact. Tens and Zelsis, the position is noted. Recognized, stunned up, but there's no follow-up. Tens, he can't take these easy fights. He's worried about it. Being swung from main as well. Picked apart. I mean, methodical is what you call that.
The ting for the backup.
Okay, look.
You know, making sure that they're not
Di mana rekonnya ya?
running forward, trying to rush things.
It's the little jiggles of movement, just trying to bait them out, and it just makes the anchoring players feel so alone.
Yeah. You don't know if someone's going to run at you from left side, from right side Jenny. You don't know if someone's going to run at you from Dice. And the whole time, Genji are actually just making you afraid, making you swing, and then ready to punish you. It's really excellent stuff. All the best teams in the world are going to have some level of that approach to the A site, but Genji looking perfect with it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things anyway that makes them best in the world on this map. I think they're demonstrating it here. You're noticing as well that the deadlock, I gotta say, it's finding very little value.
Yeah.
The walls, it's
Tiga-tiga
difficult to find a
match
good time
dapat,
to use
anjir.
that mesh barrier, or barrier mesh, sorry, because Munchkin's happy to call a slow round where it just expires. So if you use it in the mid round, okay, that's fine, but Genji are probably going to pivot in another direction.
Yeah.
And
Genji dari tadi nggak ada
I mean,
time
in
out
that
kan?
round, null command comes through. There's double stuns on site,
But it doesn't matter.
no possibility of a follow-up.
It just doesn't matter.
At that point, they're cosmetic.
Yeah. Depends when that hit was coming through. Not sure what ended up happening. Even if he had smokes available, I think no command would have stretched past him, would have prevented him from being able to lock off that anchoring main side. But you feel it when he doesn't have the util available, when they're all cut off and away and suppressed. They had no option. They couldn't take the fight by swinging out from Gen to try and buy off the stuns in the first place. Genji looked unstoppable on Ascent, as we were all kind of expecting.
I think there are things that Sentinels can adjust here, though. First of all, they could try doing some reclays over towards A main with Grabnet and a Paranoia, something like that. Alternatively, if they wanted to fight over tree control, that would be another good adaptation, I think, because Genji have been doing a lot of A splitting.
Yeah.
And the other thing they could try to do is tuck Zekken in the box at back heaven with his operator.
Well,
so
you say that.
when the hit comes through, he's there ready to collect.
They are pinging that spot already, Genji, heading into this round.
I think that's because Karon is about to ult over there, though.
Okay, all right. Show me something, Genji. Show me what you've been cooking. Oh, might be have potential for it to spot out these players. Early paranoia lets him take that control out towards A. Tens in through Y, and he's in danger though. Has to dodge and around way, can't survive it. Karen out the back, John QT. That's a bullet to the brain. Him dropped off now, there's possibilities and options are now opening themselves here for Sentinels. The barrier mesh not to be broken. Doesn't even stop the bullets as well. Still with those sight lines just being set by these Sentinels players. Second's got it.
Great adaptation from Sen. Surely Gen.G can't recover it.
There's no way.
I mean, John is stuck here.
They know where he is. There's a Nano swarm to try and clear him out of that corner.
If it hadn't missed, John would be a dead man.
And he has called for the reinforcements. 2 players ready to at least swing off of his contact. Dart is broken here and through John. Finally delivering the reset.
Nice.
Not enough to see he can at least find a way to pave his way to that victory in the round. So Sentinels are still alive.
Itu nembak atas kotak tadi serem banget. Anjir bisa tahu dia di situ.
Almost incredibly labored, but they are managing to string them together.
Yeah, and I think good. You gotta credit the tactical timeout there. They get Tens into Wine. Could he have been cleared? Absolutely.
Anjir.
Should Texture have maybe waited a second for the fragment grenade to come through? Yeah, also. Yeah. But Tens does get the value from his positioning there. And on top of that, there are multiple layers of backup. John is fighting it. Zekan's got the op there too. And now Zekan makes his way over with the operator to Cat. Like I said, this is a spot that Gen.G have been walking down. If they feel bold enough to go for something where, you know, they can smoke off tiles and have him peek towards top mid, Zekan could try to get more bold than he is.
Antem aja Zekan.
Problem is normally you need teammates to help you, and this is quite a passive comp.
Ngapain masuk?
A KO player or a Killjoy player that really wants to be holding angles for your op.
Gen.G just trying to sow a bit of confusion into this round. They've already inserted Charon right at the beginning. He has a main control. And now looking to see if they can break some of this util towards B, farm up the orbs.
And if he does farm the orb, he'll have the null command.
Are you going to try and fake this one or what? No, Texture's back up towards
because
mid.
Because Munchkin didn't have ult to start the round, Zelsis is not in an anti-KO ult spot. You know, both Sentinels are playing next to their utility, which means no command is used, and all of it goes offline.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to worry about that one when looking like it's heading towards that A side as well, again being called. But it's 30 seconds now into the round. It's getting a bit, I think, a little bit tight here in terms of the timing for Gen.G. You have to make a good go of things, and it's all expected. Stack of players are Sentinels.
First time the wall's in the right spot.
Yeah, and there it is, dropping them off here with an ult command. It's going to be sweeping through now. Dart around to the side. Texture is not watched for. This guy was already just fast up onto the line, and with all the util down, again, you might as well roll out the red carpet. Plant down now. Gen.G are ready. They've got the protocols in place just in case there are signs of that util. Meteor holding it tucked up close as well. There's no follow-up. Again, still up and over. Able to trade it. The door into their face and a full sight defense occurring here by Gen.G. Nobody looking to try and repurpose out through A main. Everybody locked onto the sites here, but the one way they choose to fight this one. They want to hold it down, and again, this retake is getting more and more difficult. Dart immediately dealt with. Time is ticking away. Sentinels running out of those options. Double up, high-low. Gonna try and push them back and away. Lakia, last one left.
Nice.
And he will fall in the end. So,
just
in time here for Sentinels.
Dapat kan?
I believe.
Yeah, only about a second on the clock, though.
Dapat. Nice.
Yeah, right on the money.
A good round from Sen there in terms of how they squeezed Gen.G. That pressure coming through, double swing over towards Heaven, making sure that they dominate.
Udah masangnya dikit lagi detiknya.
Couldn't hold it, ended up
nge-diffuse juga dikit lagi detiknya.
Into positions like Dice and Hell. At that point,
3 versus 5 ya itu ya.
Crucial kill. And Gen.G gonna take their first tactical timeout of the match.
Wow.
Their first tac timeout of champs. Coming in round 11 of map 2. Even if they get a good adjustment out of this, you know, they're not gonna put together a much better attack half on Ascent. 6 rounds is already astonishingly good. But it must be said, the Cypher Deadlock comps, they tend to perform counterintuitively better on attack.
All the ways to try and fight for that extremity control. You know, you can lay down sensors, much like they're trying to do, at least Sentinels, on their own defense. But yeah, it's quite a few unknowns, I think, of how Sentinels might be looking, at least with this composition. Tier 2 North America has been playing this comp a lot. There's a lot of footage, a lot of playmaking possibilities as well. If joki has been doing his homework, at least with the annihilations and whatnot, grab net re-clears.
Yeah, and I just want to say for a moment that Zekken has rebounded from bottom of the scoreboard to the top. If you look at him all year long, Zekken has been amazing. Like I said, getting better and better all year. Tens has been consistently at the top, even though they didn't make Shanghai. Zelz has still been good. It's actually been John who's dropped off in terms of his fragging, his output a little bit, compared to his astonishingly strong Madrid performance, where they lifted that trophy. I'm paying attention to John and how he gets his rifle impact in a lot of these rounds here at Champs.
Zekken not caught in the transition there, just trying to exit out of Wine, and there's plenty more players where that came from. Gen.G, we're going to try and go into this one fast, tempo increase, Tens taken out, Zekken followed up to trade in sight. Only gets the one down, which was Texture. Dart revealing quite a few of them. Locked down by Meteor, this is unconventional.
I like it though. You know, we saw Sentinels before get 3 detained and still win the round. They're in a 3v4 situation here though, and this should allow a great plan. I mean, this one also planted for short. If they wanted to send somebody on a wraparound,
very heads up.
Perhaps Lakia is going to take that option.
Right here.
It's around here, drone's going to be used again. Set that stage here. Tag up, got to remove it. It's first piece of util for it, but Gen.G, stalwart defense that they've really cooked up here now that they've at least taken control of the site. Look at that. As soon as they hear the footsteps and the util, it's a dart and spam out from below, and already the players have repositioned. Spike is ticking away, and Sentinels realize it. Has to be that save, have to back away.
How many rounds do Sentinels need, even if they were able to get pistol, their first of the match, and be able to carry some momentum forwards on their attack half? I think anybody that wants to see Sen recover on Ascent here, gotta be hoping that they get
dapat 75 ya syukur nih.
It's looking dire without
Syukur
it.
dah.
8-4 half, not unusual on Ascent, but it's usually the other way around, where you get your defenders in the lead.
With how dominant Gen.G have been on the pistol rounds, you know, if it follows the same course, you're looking at like an 8-4 turning into a 10-4.
Yeah, and at that point, it's just curtains.
Yeah.
There's no recovery there. Zelsis coming into this round with a broken economy, Stinger, Guardian, but they still have those big heavy hitter weapons of the Op and Odin.
It's a weird buy. Bit of a mixture.
Zekken hasn't been able to really walk in front of these smokes, keeps getting pushed back and back. But he is getting the kills.
Take flight.
Love the util to clear out mid here. Sassy with the drone. Good timing on it. But the question is, do they hear that most Gen.G are already up in through Cat? Straight through the smoke. Disrespect is being shown by them. Sentinels do have stay main control. Shot missing. John now with the barrier mesh. Looking to lock him out of this spot here, but it will be spammed down. There's a nade in sight, but no smoke for the cross. Only popped down a little bit too late there. So Zekken happy to pick them apart. Stop. Can't quite manage it. I mean, it's Charon.
And the stun does nothing in A main.
Push them back and away. Gen.G slowing it down, getting quirky with these timings. There's a stun. They can hear the sensors. Texture removes one of them. So much uncertainty. Rapid into their heads. They spot the player. Texture shoulder just peeking out, and yet still squares up to it. The challenge is met. And now drop down onto the site. Options thoroughly opened. Gen.G having to take their timing with it. You can look at the peak timing, but still missing with the shot as well. He can't quite do it. Has to pull out the shorty. Zekken, not a chance. Doesn't stand it. And leaves it to just 2. Munchkin is low. Could be an opening. Lakia will fall.
This
Stinger
is
movement in play.
So doable for Sentinels. The health advantage is massive.
Dapat 75 syukur.
Rifle cam should be clearing at least a portion of it, but you don't know there's blind spots. Munchkin peeks. They know where he is. 4 seconds until the dart. Spamming away into hell. Just in case that reposition is there. Dart round towards the back. They spot the main player out. They're all falling low. And again, it has to be Munchkin as that playmaker finds the one. Peaking timing off of it. Only 5 bullets left, but a tap from Sassy as well. It's all so unlikely for him, and he needs to hit the second. Time ticking. Forced to stick it, and time Not enough on Sen's side.
It's an 8-4 half where Genji
Berat,
on the
berat,
attack
berat,
side
bro, berat.
look absolutely
Next
dominant.
game udah
Trying to
nonton
stamp
TH
the
aja udah
mark
aku.
early on Ascent here at Champions. Home territory.
Oi. Hah? Not even close match. Berat anjir. Kenapa Sentinel ya?
Who are not only trying to, make a name for themselves in their home country this time, it's home soil, but also looking like potentially one of the favorites to win the whole thing. It's another question entirely of whether they can even stand up to it.
Sentinels, they're our only team to have beaten Genji
Terbox
internationally.
roster nggak ya kalau
That
mereka
might
kalah
feel
dari champion ya?
like it's a positive on the side of Sen. It also speaks to the
Udah,
fact that Genji got
kalau
cleanly
nggak lolos
out-Swiss
aja ke
and
grup
stomped through
dari grup
Shanghai.
ini.
That's a scary,
Romba
scary
apa
team
nggak deh?
on the other side of the stage. And they're 8-4 up, 5 rounds away from being able to move on in their group.
Yeah. Let's take a look then. Sentinels. They're the ones that have to be the playmakers. Genji also going for a bit of a proactive play. The Towers crunch on the pistol.
They love running set plays on the defense side, Genji. They will constantly try to push the tempo up. Happy to play retake.
Yeah.
Against this comp, though, I don't think they should be too happy to play retake. You're going to be running into, Gravnet, trips, stuns.
Fernando, the util, is going to be lacking ever so slightly onto the pistol. Zelsis forced to lock down. Watch this flank angle. Just gets barely the 2 shots off. Not enough to drop care on. So the trade is there, but Zekken taking a cheeky peek. Up through heaven, clears that one out, and now has to be aware that there is that flank occurring. Watchful eyes perched up. Probably a high-low as well, and the smoke make it nice and easy. Karen trying to at least split up the site. Create that timing and opening for Meteor, potentially there. He's already out though, and the players are straight through and out. The whiff might cost them still. Dart forwards, forces the issue out of texture.
Nice.
And they do clean it up, so Sentinels, a pistol round under their belt.
Pertama kali menang pistol dalam
The series
game
could
ini.
not have come at a better time, a more needed time. It probably would have been game over had they lost that one.
Yeah.
Beautiful dart as well from Sassy. They immediately dominated those smokes that Karen threw out there, which I think is the correct play. The dart forced somebody in. Sassy deals with them. He's having a good game today, Sassy. They're going to need more than this, though. We've seen teams utilizing this Cypher Deadlock composition. You kind of piece by piece take the map. Take a main, throw down a sonic sensor, take a little bit of extra space, put your trip into position or something.
That's a fight to be taken here. Native defeat though. Has to push them back in a way, at least with the rifle spam. Able to take down another of these Genji players, but he might have just done enough damage. Still, weapons are going to be exchanged, making sure that there's no waste.
Karen udah mati. Mak
Many
biglang sa
Genji
repair
pushes
na.
on other parts of the map should be able to be identified. You're always going to be running into a trip or a cam or somebody watching the flank.
Okay,
What is that timing?
And-
pure instinct from Karo, and he's TP'd in and away. There's a slight gap.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, he's caught.
You're stuck.
Yet still, Sentinels choose not to commit. I think they've seen enough bodies there, signs of life from Genji, that they call this pause. They do have 45 seconds. You can't let anything else slip, though, if you are Sentinels. It's a 3v3 in a crossfire setup. Baiting the shots, Karon's there, Meteor alongside it. Do not lose this one, Sentinels. Your best chance in a bloody long time, and you gotta clean it up. Lakia left alone. 20 seconds, still they don't know where this guy is, but the door's gonna be closing. Nobody stepping past it, just spots the feet. Breaking the door, trying to take the fight. It's a little bit uncertain, man. I mean, okay, they do get the anti-eco, but the cost of losing
stress
three
aja
of their
sih
players,
itu.
three of their guns is not going to be a healthy bonus.
I mean, you saw it on the faces there as Elsus and Sassy. They're both
Berat banget mau menang itu.
I know it's hot in here. Golden Boy talked about it before. It is warm in Korea right now. But that one's more of a sign of relief than a sign of the heat. Sen closed the gap to 2, but the bonus is not going to look pretty. They only kept the Phantom, Guardian. They've got a Stinger to work with here. It's not much. A bit of damage. Maybe even just building up to one of these ults like the Annihilation for John so that he could maybe work a pick in round 16. These are the kind of things that would be a success in the round, I think, for Sen.
Flash peek. Smog though from he's pushed up in front of Karon's face. Not able to get value, just being held by the Sentinels players. They don't have particularly spread out D4, but they do have somebody utility cam and a trip to hold deep B push.
Yeah, we're seeing Sentinels take A main, but they're not actually leaving utility there. Normally with this composition, I would expect to see Sonic Sensor be put down there, or some kind of, you know, trip, or leave a player, deposit somebody into A main.
Yeah.
Now they're going back in though. Sassy looking to try to drone and disguise the fact.
Yeah, Sentinels trying to make this one feel like it could potentially be that B split.
Yeah, that's a weird one, because they faked a B split as they were droning A.
Right, so Genji are kind of aware of this one. Munchkin, it's an off angle, and he's got to deliver. Will do with the first. Occasion his face,
Ya Allah, begitu mati ya.
to a multitude of kills. And it leaves it just down to 10s, up and over, not enough.
Mati ya, kena spam satu orang ya. Ente dah.
That Champions Trophy blinks into and out of existence, floating, tinting, taunting the players. Rifles back online though for Sen. An opportunity for them to showcase what they've been working on. We haven't seen them play too much of this map.
No.
But we've seen the Cypher Deadlock. We know that it's got at least some good fundamentals to work on. Gonna need to see Zelsys trading out stuff like this though.
Yeah, there's going to be an early fight occurring into this next round. Tiles beat out by Texture.
The Cypher should be able to take a little more aggro B main control as well. Trip broken, Zelsys not ready for that one. Not looking to use his cam to take super aggro B main either. It is a bit more of a passive approach to Sen than we've seen from other teams running this comp. Tentative.
Yeah, looking for those openings, Genji. Not give them too much though.
Lah,
Shock dart.
gak hancur.
I think to do damage enough to break the alarm bot.
That's a very weak alarm bot.
Yeah.
Kok nggak hancur ya?
Can't see the health bar, but I'm sure it'll be minuscule.
Be crazy if the alarm bot clutched now. 1 HP.
A bit of spam though. It's going to be exchanged now here. Turret at least broken. Meteor, he is not shy, is he? This guy is happy to push back up. Make it really difficult to take any B main control. Already breaking that cam, backing away. 38 seconds.
They got that deep wall down mid, but they didn't break the alarm bot.
What
So
is the call?
they've got to go into a B split.
There's plenty players ready to meet them. Genji tucked up to crossfire setup. Logs to the corner. Lakia has to do a lot here. It's running and gunning to trade it up, but they weren't expecting, and again Meteor delivers to death blow. And it might just be a round winning moment. Indeed it is. A 3-piece to finish it. 10-6 Genji.
GG udah.
Looking on pace now to just take this map away.
Yeah, that's going to knock the economy for Sentinels. Could be the death blow. I love that smoke. Everybody's throwing that same smoke now. Learn it for your ranked games as well. The one-way cross-map helps out your players to defend against the B-split. Perfect from Karen, and it sets up this crossfire so beautifully. And Lucky is tucked into a corner. The Sentinels players, as they come out, they're checking stairs, wondering if someone's peeking from there. Because Meteor, he loves to play that spot. Yeah. Then they check switch, because you never know, Texture could be playing in that kind of position. There's just so many ways that Genji could be threatening you on defense. It's difficult to account for them all. And even if you did know that that crossfire setup was there, good luck dealing with it. Like I said, that could have been the death blow, and Sentinels are going to take a tactical timeout to try to figure out where they can go from here.
That's a real difficult ask, I think. With how active Genji are on their defense, it's either, you know, a bit of a trap play setup or maybe just a set play at the beginning of rounds that they will throw out. But even when they're just making sure that they can play it slow, you know, you saw in that last round, turret gets broken, Meteor immediately vacuums up the space.
Yeah.
Disrespects B main, makes sure that Sentinels can't take it with a cam, can't hold it easily.
And not only does that slow Sentinels down, but it also allows Genji much better information. We talk all the time about Munchkin making these amazing reads on defense. Part of it's because his players are willing to contest util. And if you peek back into B main and you see 5 players on the other side and Meteor bounces, well, now that's really good info. But if Meteor's able to re-clear B main, he knows that a hit is not coming straight back through.
Yeah.
It just helps every aspect of their game. That constant war of attrition that Genji force you to fight.
Genji force you to fight.
Half buys the Sentinels. Be rare to see a return on those investments. Caron still locks it up here. That's spam. Being offloaded, Texture does manage to at least get 2, but it's even out and it has handed guns over.
Yeah, that's a major win for Sentinels.
Munchkin, there's a drone in his face. It's not being watched for into the smoke. The awareness is off the charts. He doesn't go for the easy kill, but now he knows the TenZ is lurking. Not long for the world. But again, another high game IQ moment from Munchkin there. He hears the drone. He knows the Sassy is going to be occupied in that moment, instead takes the peek to the player with the gun.
Yeah, that's so good. And also getting the read that that player is going to be on the left.
Yeah.
He knows that there's a rifle down in that kind of situation, predicts the timing. I mean, timing's the drone as well, beautifully. And a situation that was looking like a potential win condition for Sentinels, ripped out of their hands so quickly. They're now going to have to find a different avenue of success. Sassy with the Odin ready to counter spam. But Texture, he hasn't been walking up B main with the op yet. This has been Meteor's domain. And they're going to expect him to be here.
Deep shot darts, not enough to clear this trip here. Sassy. It's a drone for a drone. Texture, he's hiding from it. Again, sowing misinformation. Shot missed though, Hunter's Fury. This feels like it's quite a committed push. And damage done, even a kill for Sassy, maybe enough to pave the way. It calls for that reinforcement. Karen instantly TPs.
Very good ult from Sassy. Very good read to now go for an A split.
They've pulled these players apart, but Munchkin again could be that thorn in their side. Once more, weapon glowing. This guy is on fire. Grab net, gets that confirmation potentially there. Flood defending in, right through the back. Annihilation and clearing in and through. Sentinels do have the necessary plays. You don't want to be handing care on too many more though. A doubled up holding this one, side by side. Bit of spam hailing down the lead, so still in it. At least for now, Sentinels.
Great call from John. As soon as you hear that ult being used, I think it's very likely they're sticking the teleport into back B. He decides to send things on an A split, anticipating that A is weaker. And Munchkin's already realized what's happening and sent a couple players over there, but Sen grouped up, decisive, love to see it. And Sassy continues to have one of the best games that I've seen from him in a long time.
Oh yeah.
He was top of the
Lama banget ya jongkok itu ya.
minute there on Haven.
Tes.
And now he's
Lama banget jongkok
back
itu.
up, at least on the Sentinel side with 13 kills.
Kok lepas
Having a
lepas
great day.
perasaanku.
Doesn't get much easier though. This time
Tuh,
Texture
Zack kan tak ada kayak gini tadi. Gak boleh ngepick jauh kah sama timnya apa gimana anjir.
Right into it. Dash is fading. This is hyper committed.
This is the kind of thing that Zekken just couldn't do.
Zekken's holding It's a pixel angle. Oh, but no!
Zek kan tadi tak ada main kayak gitu.
Texture takes it away. Caron, heavy committed now into bottom mid. He needs to be defended and he needs some help to get out of here. That's what the drone is for. Up and over.
Right here.
Clears the path.
When Lakia and Karen are willing to be that aggressive, it allows Texture to do this.
This is not potentially getting cleared off. Angle traded. But again, reinforcements are there. Out through the back of the side. That's Tens committing. Caron! He dominates the smoke. He will not be stopped. And a paranoia puts Tens in his place.
The recon in that position is supposed to stop Karen from doing that. Your recon, he's caught out in the open, has to break it, gives away his position, forced to swing into the smoke. He's checkmated. He's swinging into a smoke that two of the people are already in. He can't get away with it. Opened up nicely with Gen.G's aggression, which, like I said, their comp benefits them. Not something that Sentinels could ever really do, support Zekken in that kind of way on their defense half.
Aduh, lemes bro, lemes.
The cams are broken.
Kenapa mic murah nih ya Allah, aku ngomong kadang nggak.
They have not slowed down a beat. Up and over. Bladestorm in the hands. Texture is releasing. Just absolutely unbelievable form.
I can't use that.
Sentinels left to stew and simmer.
Knives back out though for Zekken.
Munchkin will fade away. Knives out, but back to the wall. Texture reveals his position. 3 left available to work with, blinded up Meteor. He spots it, betrayed by the barrel. A 2-0
Jauh.
Gen.G looking
Nggak bisa ngimbangin.
not slowing down from prior performances. They are aiming and gunning for that trophy.
Revenge for the grand finals of Masters Madrid. Both of these teams were tied at 4 maps apiece heading into the match today. And now Gen.G have taken the lead, both in terms of that head-to-head series all year and in the maps. I think they outclassed Sentinels today. They showcased that divergence of the trajectories for both of these teams. There's a reason that Sentinels came in here based on their championship points, and Gen.G are coming in looking like favorites to lift the trophy.
There's a warm welcome in the tail end here for the series. Of course, Sentinels, you know, they are fan favorites even here in Korea, but there's even bigger fan favorites right in front of them here. Gen.G with that 2-0 win. Looking nasty, man.
I am disappointed that we didn't get to see Abyss from either of these two teams. First time Gen.G have ever floated a brand new map. They've been permabanning it. All the other times felt like a trap. Sentinels were happy to opt into it. We were denied it today because the form from Gen.G 0. We'll have to wait until
Berat.
kind of delight as we get to see.
Tuh kenapa ya? Aku lagi ngomong tapi Discordku nggak ngedetek aku ngomong. Ini masih karakternya nggak hidup.
A lot of unknowns when you're heading into these international tournaments about how teams are prepared and ready, but it was a hell of a task ahead of Sentinels to try and take this one. They might be the only team that's beaten them.
Ente dah, berat bet anjir. Apaan bisa minting lagi ya? 7408.
Things up here in Seoul, intimate venue to open things up, not like the way that we'll end up closing.
Oh. Sorry. Ayo, next map yuk. Next match. Next map. Kalau next matchnya aku megang TH. Gimana sih? Aku bingung apa ya dah. Sini. Ini ke sini. Oh, ke bawah ini dulu. Jadi 3 kali main yang di bawah ya. 1 di sini main, 2 di sini main, 3 di sini main. Kalau yang di atas nih cuma 2 kali main. Cuman satu tim yang 2 kali main. Misalnya ini di sini TH ke sini. TH-nya ke atas sini, plus Phoenix-nya ke bawah. Mereka main, misalnya Sentinel ataupun plus Phoenix menang ke sini, nungguin yang ini turut, ini qualify. Ini udah pasti Genji, udah pasti 100%. Kalau ada tim lain yang kesini ya, balik aku main Valo anjir. Mau sampai map 3 pun berarti Genji mainnya jelek, pasti Genji yang kesini nih, yang qualify atas upper. Yang tak tahu tuh yang di sini bisa Heretic, bisa Van plus Phoenix, bisa Sentinel. Ya aku pengennya Sentinel. Kalau Heretic sama Sentinel masih tanda tanya siapa yang menang. Kalau ini aku megang Fanatic sama Kru atau DRX ya. Tahu dah. Aneh banget, mereka pengen viewersnya banyak hari pertama langsung mainin grup B. Grup B belum jalan. Cuma atato tu pengen main BF aku, tapi ntar malam itu World Dungeon nggak bisa masuk. Ntar World Dungeon itu dari jam 8 sampai jam 10. Masa iya aku nge-live jam 10 ya? Kak Domo deh, pengen ngestal. La 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 la. Ngapain masuk ke kamar sih, Cing? Lagi hamil lewat-lewat jendela. Karena
おやすみ前の長電話気づいたら朝だったね
本当に甘いたい。
ことはいつだってうまく言えなくて
I wanna be with you.
隣にいてよ息をして
触れてあって。
You are my everything 離さないでよその手で頬をなで
いてたりて。
あの日のこと覚えてる帰り道はいつもと周りで星がよく見えるよって恥ずかしくて上ばかり見てたっけな私ばっかり甘えて本当は寂しかったね
いつもあなたと
ちゃんと伝えるよ今なら
言える。
Stay for you
君だけに
届けばいい聞こえればいい You are my everything あと何回君と笑い合いあと何回君を傷つけてあと何回涙するんだろう
Apalagi yang bisa dijual ya?
この歌を歌えていることそれが幸せの意味になってるんだよ
Ah,
I wanna be with
FVX is not like sand. Siap abang.
して許し合って You are my everything
Gas TH20. Sand needs brain. Emang para komentator tuh lebih jago daripada pro playernya. Ya.
Stay for you 君だけに
Sama kayak aku komenin orang. Jadi kenapa sasinya lama ulti? Kan kita nggak tahu ya. Kita nonton doang. Komennya kayak paling jago aja gitu. Ini 5% loh suara Spotify-nya. Kok masih gede banget musiknya. Ini 2% dari. Ntar aku lihat 4M 5M 25 25 10 10 45 20 20 20 10 10 10 75 2M 1M 1M 2,5 11M 10 5 111 111. Udah habis, nggak tahu mustahil apa lagi.
今日も歌を歌うよいつもなら
Dapat berapa harganya ya? 10 kah? Apa lagi yang bisa dijual? Tidak ada barang yang bisa dijual. Aku miskin. Token 1 jam berapa ya? 10 4 5 25 25 10 10 45 20 20 20 10 10 10 75 2 1 1 25 11 10 5 11 11 Iki wasite Bagati ate Tiga jam loh di sini nggak dapat apa-apaan. Ini aku kasih lihat game ya. Window capture-nya matiin, game capture-nya hidupin, kasih lihat micro. Tiga jam main di sini nggak dapat apa-apaan. Buat ini doang, ini. Apa lagi ini tadi, ini udah habis anjir, nggak ada apa-apa. Ini udah tier 2, ini udah tier 2, ini udah tier 2, ini udah tier 2. Yang sayang tuh ini kebalik nih, defense-nya 1, damage rate-nya 2, ini defense-nya 2, ini defense-nya 2, ini defense-nya 2, damage rate 1. Kebalik ini. Mau ku hapus sayang, mau ku reset sayang banget. Sisa tangan, badan. Kaki ntar aja deh, kaki masih di pen 2. Badan sama tangan mau buat ini mau buat Malta, mau buat damage badannya, tangannya mau buat Malta juga, mau buat damage, tapi badannya masih tanda tanya sih. Buat ini fatality itu kurang. Atau buat Santiago. Atau buat ini sekalian ini. Gak tahu mau buat apa. Top Monjoy ini damage apa buat ini, damage juga bisa, masih pilihan nih. Ini weapon sama skill damage, kalau ini skill damage rate, rank damage rate. Di sininya 20 dia. Kalau yang di sini tadi itu 21 defense-nya. 21. Kalau tambah 4 udah plus 5, kalau tambah 6 udah plus 8. Malah pengen buat Santiago ya. Tapi berat banget ini, beratnya 350 anjir. Ini aja 170. Santiago boleh deh. Dibokar aja. Fatality ini apa ya, lupa loh. Fatality itu mak HP regen, Peregrine Red, Maxwell. Nggak jelek juga sih Fatality. Bingung aku mau bikin apa. Ini weapon tak kapan-kapan mau dibuat. Ini dapat minting kemarin. Ini 100 tokenku. Bisa minting 31 tapi nggak tahu kapan bisa minting lagi. Kemarinnya kena PHP 6 kali 5 kali anjir. Capek. Nggak drop something. Pernah dapat dropan bagus aku anjir. Udah di anu 5 loh ini. Ini kasih ini 1 ke atau ini ke atau ini atau ini atau ini. Lihat dagger berapa? 1500 700 lah straight bisa jadi 1500 ya. Udah lanjut window capture. Cuma itu Send only liter on champ point, not skill. Okay. How they get the champion then? How they get the champ point? Goblok banget ya komen aja. Kalau feelingku ganti roster sih kalau nggak lolos champion. Kalau nggak lolos grup champion. Tapi aku nggak tahu siapa yang diganti. Average age-nya, average umurnya di Sentinel tuh udah pada tua. Udah lagunya udah.
Part other than like one bad game he had against somebody, I can't remember who, he had like minus 17, but other than that he's been fine. And so like the pressure can get to you, and when you're playing loose, when you're playing fun, this is something that a lot of teams have been talking to me behind the scenes for this tournament is they're coming in with the let's have fun, let's be loose, let's play with, you know, a little bit of swagger on there, but no pressure is what they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, ideally that's what you'd want in this situation. It's high pressured, but of course, you know, it's a matter of whether or not you're going to be able to put up in those moments where it counts.
The best teams right now are the ones who have managed to beat the burnout and stay successful, and I think Gen.G is the only team who has had that consistency. We saw it just then with the Sentinels who has struggled after the Madrid win.
Kok aku megang FPX ya? Walaupun aku tahu TH kuat.
14 heretics, or can they have a resurgence and show that form again here in Seoul?
Yeah, and of course, you know, for the heretics, this is going to be a trying test for them as they take the stage against an FPX team that can very well throw anything against the wall, and it could very well work. And of course, the vibes have not really been the same over on the heretics cap. Let's actually go ahead and check out this post-match interview that we did with Miniboo earlier.
Before we came to this interview, you said you were a little disappointed. What's going on?
Like in my mind, it's like my typical usual stream game on Ranked. I was fucking tilted. I don't know, I couldn't kill anyone, my decisions were worst in my life. I was cold, I was hot, I was not enough. Okay, I'm chilling.
Of course, you know, Miniboo wasn't able to make it to Shanghai, but he is back on this roster, you know, with an opportunity here to hoist a trophy over his head. Talented player through and through, but of course, you know, this is a big opportunity for him, and it's the first time we've been able to really get to see him take the stage like this.
Team Heretics with and without Miniboo, I think, are very distinctly different teams. When they're playing with him, I think he is definitely the player that defines this roster. They play more Neon comps than any other team, and it's not even close. And that's because of this guy. And when you watch them play, we've always known them. For the set plays, the little ideas in the mid-round for re-clearing space, those little coordinated pieces. That is kind of the identity of that is around Miniboo. When you watch him play on this Neon, defensive side, they're going to have re-clears set up all over the map with his utility. They're going to have him being super mobile to always be in the right place to set him up for that success. I think he gets more value out of his stun than any other Neon player I've ever watched, and that is so hard now that there is only one of those relay bolts.
And I mean, two things strike me with Miniboo. One, I agree with you fully. He's the best Neon in the world right now. I don't think there's much question about that. It's that one of the things that can give Neon some trouble is you get too far ahead of your squad, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're so fast, you're just miles ahead.
Just sliding in the gunfire.
Yeah, and then the other team just throws a smoke or a molly right behind you, and all of a sudden you're cut off from the rest of your team, right? But he's good enough in those moments that he can take over. We're just seeing it in some of these highlights where he's getting these double kills, these triple kills on his own when he's just ahead of the rest of his squad. However, Heretics does such a good job being right there with him, right behind him. Like, I think back to like when they played Haven with the ISO, like they work so well in tandem together with that. They're able to come together at the right times, at the right angles. So that's what's so impressive about it, because a lot of teams that try Neon can't keep up with their Neon, and it just makes the pick somewhat it has way less value.
They're playing the Agent on all but 2 maps, which is absolutely crazy when you compare that to the rest of the field.
Well, we literally didn't see Neon the first game of the day.
Oh, yeah, Genji doesn't play Neon.
No. People thought Neon was going to define the meta, and she's viable on most of the maps in the pool, but most teams haven't decided to go for it, and Team Heretics is really committed into this read.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think it's safe to say, though, that we are going to get a ton of Neon today from Miniboo and from these compositions that are going to be supporting it, correct?
I think the interesting contrast here is that Miniboo, when you watch him play, he is a star. He has those crazy moments, he has the pop-off, but I think what defines him is how he plays in the system, how he's using his utility, how on their attacking side they're using him to scale and take different space in the map. Compared to Life, who is a guy who is given so much agency to go off on his own and take risks and make his own plays. You're not going to see Miniboo doing that in the same way. The question is, though, for a bit of a wounded Heretics, can their structure hold up to an FPX that is so disruptive, that can boom you if things start going wrong?
Yeah, and I guess what I'm wondering is, like, you know, the pitfalls on each side, right? You had a great pickup there when, you know, talking about how FPX likes to play very unorthodox manner. But how does Heretics try and, well, take advantage of the fact that FPX likes to be a little bit too unorthodox and make too many risky plays?
No, I mean, I think you have to stick to what's worked. You have to stick to these fundamentals where you're working with the Neon, where you're playing off of that, you're able to combo the utility well. That's going to give FPX problems with their more individualistic playstyle.
All right, folks. Well, our teams are ready to go. So let's go ahead and bring them down to the stage and get the show on the road.
Aku pegang TH tapi kenapa perasaanku gak tahu deh. Gak bisa diremehin juga orang-orang ini nih.
Team Heretics.
It's a Shanghai rematch. It's rematch day at Champions, and you love to see it. Heretics versus FPX, and FPX, an opportunity here to right a wrong that happened for them in Shanghai. But for Heretics, they have their full lineup, They're at full power, and it's time to see what they can bring to the table. And oh boy, Abyss is our first map to kick things off. FPX coming in hot.
We already talked about it. They're really good on this map. They've been playing it a lot at home in the CN region. I think their Yoru Jet comp is pretty creative, but they play it quite well. Their defensive side especially has always looked really good. But this is a map that we have seen from Heretics. They're playing a Gecko Breach comp that I actually thought looked pretty good, but we have only seen it once from them.
Yeah, whether or not they bust that out again will be the question. Curious to see what Miniboo could do on Abyss as well here. That'll be pretty fun.
I'm really excited about this.
Tebak-tebakan tim mana yang jatuh pertama luar map.
The Astra is one of the things I really look at with Heretics that a lot of teams aren't really leaning into.
Aku pegang TH jatuh pertama.
Some of those tight angles and the post plants and things like that to maybe even drag people pretty far away, from the angles that they need to hold. Stuff like that is really important on this map because there's a lot of cubbies that you can hide in, and there's a lot of smokes that you can utilize with the Astra as well. Really, really cool stuff. But on the other side, I mean, I think my eyes are going to be on Life's Yoru. That has been really impactful, really devastating to the opponents that they've faced on Abyss so far. They're 2-0 on Abyss. They beat Trace Esports. They beat EDG on it. This is definitely also kind of a must-win for FPX.
Alhamdulillah.
Like this has been their map. This is their map.
Mereka ngalahin EDG di map ini anjir.
So we're seeing a change up here from Team Heretics. Before they were playing the Breach Gecko. Now they're switching over to a Jet Sova composition. We don't see a lot of Jet
itu bukan.
But in both of these first two maps,
Kok gitu? Ayamnya.
Don't see a lot of Jet from Miniboo.
Nggak belok ayamnya.
First two maps, he's probably not going to be playing that Neon whatsoever. So it's a different role for him to bust out. Some of the strengths of this Sova, obviously the
baru ayam tuh.
how you can set up on the darts, and as we said, combining those tools together.
Yeah, I'm curious, but of course, you know, I fully expect Rians and Woot to really synergize beautifully to be able to maximize on the utility and just the composition as a whole. And it's time to see really what FPX are going to bring to the table here on Abyss. It's going to be awesome. Everyone is locked in, so let's go ahead and send it down to your casters, professional yappers, two of my favorite people, Mitch and Tom, baby.
Kok aku ngerasa iya sih, FPX sih bisa sih.
I went to Waffle University. It's a place down the road.
I saw that the other day. Yeah, you're back where you went to uni. It's good to see. Tom, this is going to be one hell of a matchup. We've heard it from the desk. FPX, they play an interesting style. You've been talking my ear off about them for the last couple weeks.
I love
this Heretics, listen, we know these guys. One of the main criticisms we had, one of the main issues they had was time. They were burnt out. Now they've had their rest, their time to reset, and big challenge for FPX taking them down.
Yeah, they've also switched things up a little bit. Miniboo going to be over to the Jet and bringing in the Sova. I'm interested to see because they were setting up around the breach quite a bit, but now that's gone. It's definitely going to be a different look. The look that's there for the side of FPX is one I'm always excited for. I think Berlin has to be a highlight. He is a nutcase. He's going to try weird stuff that you haven't seen before, unless you've been watching the Chinese region, in which case maybe you have. For now, though, a very aggressive defensive push all the way through A, looking to try and catch them on the flank, but I believe Life has spotted it.
He did. He was ready for that. Only peeked up the top, gave the info to Lysaurus. Good for one. The Sheriff, though, running low on ammo. Flash comes through. He won't dodge it. Now they're right on top of him. Easy trade for Heretics, but the site is claimed. FPX knew the ground they'd given up. Life up top looks to take it all the way onto Boo. And now they've got a foothold, an aggressive one that Heretics will have to fight for. And they win their first duel.
Aya's still up there, though. They might not expect the second, but they're playing as a unit, moving as a pack. Leaving Berlin, who hasn't actually been spotted in the corner, but Woot lands the shot anyway. Leaving Autumn to try and hold on. Utility expended, needs to land the shots first, doesn't go his way, and well, he's not going to get a second chance. Pistol goes the way of Heretics.
Yeah, you really see them sticking as a blob, whether it's the A main push to start this off on the defensive side, they get up, they get the information, and then there's no splitting, there's no sending a player out to die by themselves. Instead, just using the numbers to their advantage in the pistol, it works out, and the few little extra plays that FPX tried, they don't manage anything. So 1-0 we start, rifles coming through, and I'm excited by what I'm seeing. There's still 15 seconds left. They could easily decide to sell some of these weapons.
You're going to talk about
what am I going to say? Goddamn right. It's an outlaw on Miniboo and a Jet. I'm excited to see what he can do. No shields on the other side, so this could be a big farming round for him. Bring him closer to that ultimate, but he's only got one orb on the board, so it'll be a while before
that's one of the most fun things about this map is what you can do with the Blade Storm. Like, you can literally jump off the map and go for kills.
Yeah.
That's some of the crazy stuff we've seen. I think Smoggy was doing that over on EDG. For now, though, Minibu's just looking for those early fights. It seems more spread from the attack side. Maybe an attempt to just collect some orbs, potentially look for a plant. You can't really have too many expectations from a round like this, and they're playing it very safe. But I do think that dimensional drift is a huge part of what they're going to be going for. Site control, a big part of their game plan, but also it just allows Life to go crazy, and that's something that genuinely, he's one of the most terrifying duelists in the whole tournament, because he is, as said, just a little bit insane.
I wonder if we'll see this continue. Much more passive hold over B. It was the same in the pistol for Boo, but his teammates were pushing A that time. Now, well, he has actually shifted into a slightly more aggressive position. Could be in trouble. Smoke used, though, to back out, concede the space, and with that, FPX will find themselves a plant. Again, the idea from Heretics isn't to stop them in their tracks, it's to wait and retake it as a unit. Already finding one with the Outlaw. The players on backside might have a chance with the Classics catching them off guard. Decent damage to Benji.
How much they can get in terms of the kills, though. Not really playing alongside each other. A little bit further back for Autumn, and it makes this training quite a bit easier. One kill at least, make things that a little bit more costly, but you can see Rien's only having a pistol that is not really going to force any rebuys for the next round, other than the player who was already going to purchase anyway.
I mean, there was a decent amount of damage done, but yeah, just too spread across the players. So no kills converted, bar that one. No weapons dropped and left for the Ether. FPX will be facing off against a decent buy coming into the next. One investment from Team Heretics gets them a Vandal. Everything else is definitely in fighting form. The Bulldogs sort of backed up by the fact that you've got an Outlaw. You could be facing 10 HP, or just tag him once and let Minibu do the cleanup. For FPX, rifles come out, and dimensional drift for Life.
That's the big one.
That's going to get them into a site.
Yeah, and you can already see, not messing about. All of the players are up over on the left side of the map, getting ready, pinging over onto the B site. It does seem, though, that Heretics have a decent idea. A very passive hold. Benji sitting back. Now, he should be able to clear at least some of the trips. Make sure that they're not going to be able to hold on to that ground. Although saying that, it seems like they're both still standing.
Yeah, there was a clear idea from Heretics to change their setup. Boo goes to the A site this round. Traps are here to try to catch these players as they make their way in or out of the site. But now the traps are down. Benji has been blitzed on, and with this FPX, able to fall back, playing a lot of players in main. They've lost their mid control, but that's not that big of a stress this late in the round. Main thing is keeping Life on the site and having the support to cover him as they cross. Even the TPUs to get out of there, and now standard post plants on a long range angle down an alleyway. Already finding Minibu, and even if they smoke this one off, it's going to be hard to get this stuck all the way with a big swing. Gravwell keeps them back a moment, buys them time, but not quite enough.
Yeah, it definitely came close. Aya tagged Life as well, so there was potential for them to try and bring that back, but the Gravwell couldn't quite hold them long enough, unfortunately, for the
nice
side
try,
of
though.
Heretics.
I like the idea.
Yeah, definitely not a bad idea. And you can see that, again, I think this was a map that FPX are using against a lot of teams because they're not going to be massively well prepped. But it seems like for Heretics, they have a decent idea of what they're going to be doing. They're playing this map
Gila, tenang banget
they're
I'm
comfortable enough on it, at least, even if they
Asik
haven't had a massive
I'm
break. I
tenang
know a
kayak
lot of the
tadi.
players said that they sort of went home, had some time, maybe with family or friends, just to try and counter the bigger problem, which was the burnout. For now, though, it seems like FPX are going to go straight for that middle control. Now, we've seen teams using, well, even them, using the Viper wall for the same purpose, but instead already both smokes utilized early in the
Gila
round
kok
should
berasa
take
jatuh
the space.
gitu ya aku.
No, Life is really committing to this. Decoy sent through a flash to start, and they're trying to catch a fight. Unfortunately, they have. It was Benji Fishy to take down Life and slow this push completely. The squad now trapped in by Ult coming in from Woo. Big play from Boo. He's caught Autumn off guard. Barely any ground to hold on to for FPX, and now down to nothing. Berlin, he's made it to the site. His sneak up through B main is successful. Unfortunately, he's got 4 opponents to take down and a reveal that's going to make him give it away. The steps definitely shown Heretics where he is, and well, I don't think he's getting away with this one. The crash finally gets him.
Boo is nice. Boo is a nice person. He gets detained, he decides, you know what, I'm actually just going to finish him off before anything else can happen, and even get himself the extra ultimate orb, which gets him that little bit closer. Now, the problem for FPX is financially a bit of a weird one. You've got yourself Aya with a bit of extra cash. The same can be said for Life, which, hey, again, you put him in the right position and things can definitely go their way. I feel like the problem with this round, though, was they wanted to try and go for mid control, but it was very telegraphed. Like, you're using both smokes, like, unless you're going for some crazy fake play, I don't think it's going to fool anyone. And the main person that could have been caught was Benji.
Yeah, and he hit his shot. Simple as that. Mini-Boo, free kill, and he's dashed right out.
That dart caught everyone. It caught everyone.
That dart caught life as well. A shock dart sent through, picking off one, damage done. Berlin down to 62. FPX don't have a lot to work with here. Obviously, still the rifle on inet, but the rest of the squad just with pistols. And well, they are going to need a big performance to make this one. It's not about winning it. It's about keeping that economy managed on the Team Heretic side. They can't have all 5 players carrying rifles through to the next round, and at least there's the first to fall. Mini-Boo with Woot and Rien super low. This could still be an okay round in terms of economy damage for the attackers.
It does revolve. Maybe on a sneaky play from Autumn. He's making his way down mid. The problem is if his teammate falls, would mean that they eventually start looking back in the other direction, while the cam's going to do that anyway. Even still, the aggressive position of Boo means that a plant is going to be tough, and even still they're going to walk back into a trip, so there really is just going to be so much information. Boo is just waiting for a mistake to be made, utility trying to be cleared from Aya, but he is dead. Like, unless Boo makes a massive mistake, I don't think there's any way that Aya's going to survive.
No, of course not. It's not an angle you will usually clear, and not one that you can from the position he was in. Free for Boo. Even at the information with the trap being broken earlier, and obviously the steps were loud as can be. Autumn with a chance. There's one, and low HP on Rienz if he can isolate the fight, but he wants the rifle, and Benji's guarding it. 4-1, a solid start to this defensive side. Heretics lose their
English or
round,
Spanish.
they're kind of expected to, where they had the weaker weapons, but since rifles come out, doesn't look like they're breaking much of a sweat. That last round wasn't a big one from FPX, though. This is where the investment comes through for the attacking side.
I think the scary prospect, though, is just bear in mind the Binder's up next. A map that there was a 6-win streak for the side of Heretics until that was ended in OT by Vitality. That was the way that they managed to actually qualify for champions in the first place. So I wouldn't say that Bind is going to be a weak map, and it's one that I don't think is the best for FPX. So and maybe they've changed things, maybe they've got something new to throw in, but I think their sort of like hidden gem was this map. Not many teams are, I would say, at the top level, like at a good position. Like, a lot of teams are trying different things. I don't think a meta has necessarily been set. And if they're going to get, well, boomed, which I wouldn't say they are yet, but no, they need to slow it down. I like the fact that they've called a pause already. It's not really been like a catastrophic destruction of what they've been attempting, but I feel like so far, everything they've tried, considering they've got this like Euro comp, which is meant to be a bit off kilter and catch people, it hasn't. It's been quite obvious what they've been trying to do.
Yeah, Heretics have seemed ready for it every step of the way, and I think even that the mid push you talked about, as you said, telegraphed with smokes, then the decoy goes through, they let it pass, take the fight immediately with Benji dropping life after the flash, after the decoy had gone through. Just avoiding the utility and dealing with the man himself. And I think that's a problem that FPX are going to look to solve by, as you said, slowing down this round, looking for a bit more global control instead of isolating just one angle and pushing down there, and then sending late lurks out that Heretics are ready for because they've often got the advantages. Like you said, they're not getting boomed just yet. 4-1, it's an acceptable early scoreline, but we need to see this attacking side find the solutions pretty soon. And now, this is the best time for it. A bunch of ultimates online, albeit Lysor and Berlin's not high impact, but the rifle's coming out.
They've tried to do the same again, like throw a couple of early smokes, but this is just a ruse. It's trying to sell the idea that they're going for the same play. The problem is there's been a change up from Heretics as well. They've now got the operator roaming in mid, so nobody else has moved. The orb being taken is definitely going to be heard as well. So again, like the idea was to try and sell some sort of fake, sell some sort of lurk, but thus far, that hasn't happened.
No success in that front whatsoever. Team Heretics with, you know, we mentioned the change up in setup that we saw a few rounds ago where Benji came in to prevent this B-site push. You've not just got Benji, but Boo here as well. Both of these players, we've seen anchoring sites now committed to holding the angles. Decoy is the one that's sent through. It's not even going to be touched. They allow it to fade into insignificance. Trap, luckily, not going to catch anyone. Aya's able to destroy it in time, and they've claimed the space. Now the rotations come in from Heretics. Now they look to defend that B site or even to retake it, but little do they know the spike is going elsewhere. All they have to do on this site is buy time, and Aya's done a good job of that. Autumn might not be able to get out of here, but look at Lysor's position, sneaking up through mid, cutting this defense apart, and Autumn's even picked another.
It's a double dip, almost a triple dip. They sell an initial fake, throw it into it, what seems like a take of the B site, and then throw it back over to A again. That was really nice. Incredibly complicated. It's something that you do feel like at any stage, if Heretics managed to catch on, it could have gone completely wrong, but I like it. Like, you're throwing in the double smokes early again. You're then going to be using an ultimate and then even sending a couple of players into that site and then going back in the other direction with, what, 20 seconds left on the clock? I think the main point of that round, though, was Lysor. Just having him still in middle, leaving Autumn as the secondary lurk, it makes it so difficult for anybody to actually move on Heretics without being caught or being put in a 1v1.
Well, early on, there's a big fight for A main. Just like the pistol, Heretics want to triple push up. They've spotted the operator already, and the dash actually caught on the wall. That's going to cost Miniboo his life. The flash stopped him from being able to see exactly where he was dashing to. Well, a terrific start for FPX, and I think this was a response from Heretics to the last round. They played it blind, tried to rotate, assuming FPX were going to be as one-dimensional as they were a few rounds ago, and instead, they now go for the push to get the early info, walk straight into the op, pick is found, and FPX can now go back to that 2D play because, well, they've got the advantage. You're not going to have as many players rotating in.
They're pushing into what is almost at this stage a double sentinel. It's a bit of a gamble keeping both players here, even having a rotation out from the side of Wu as well, who has been hitting his shot so far. Wu even going to just be waiting behind, but it's almost just a peek out straight behind the utility. Wu goes down, Benji is still here, looking to try and fight on top of it. He almost gets two. The second player so desperately low, even knows that he's still on this corner. Just waiting for someone to try and swing around that corner. I think he's got him dead to rights, a second to his name. But that wraparound, they're waiting for it, they're trying to watch for it, and almost getting that information might just give the game away. Berlin still managing to fight back with another, putting thing into a 2 versus 2, but that time has been ticking all the way along. Benji looking to try and get things to half. He's succeeded, but with his teammate going down, it's now left all onto him, surrounded in the end, and FPX, well, it got a little bit dicey, but they get it over the line.
Yeah, well, listen, you told me that Life does some crazy stuff, and I'm waiting for the TPs and so on. There he fake TPs, pushes through a smoke with an op. Hey, that's not a conventional play. It's not one I'd recommend you try at home, but my goodness, it most certainly has worked. And again, that early aggression towards A, the fact that Heretics try to take the space to find a solution to the problems they had last time, well, it hasn't worked out. And now from the Heretics side, you know that if you play it slow and rotate in off what is clearly an execute, FPX might fake it. If you go for the early aggression to grab control so that you know where the hit's coming through, FPX might be waiting. This is a very good resurgence. A team that was 4-1 down with no answers, they've certainly started to fill in that worksheet.
And the bigger problem now is the economy. I will say there's a lot of ults that are either online or very close. Miniboo one away, Rian's one away. This round on paper seems easy, but if I've learned anything from Heretics is that Benji plays better with the Sheriff. Mark, who's to doubt the other players on this squad. Again, I feel like the darts from Rians have pinged up the entire team multiple times. I feel like FPX might have to go to the workshop and try and shoot those before they go off. Again though, FPX just taking things slow. They know that a round like this is likely to have weaknesses, likely to have pieces missing, so they don't really need to overface.
All they have to do is get towards this side as well. They have the pit if things start to go wrong, but unlikely to be used in a round where there's mostly weaker weapons. Instead, this ultimate, the dimensional drift is used. Get into the site, root out all these players, grab the info, go for a very aggressive peek. The flash even thrown through by Woot gets nothing, and the control swinging clearly in favor of FPX. A 5 versus 2. There'll be no pit used this round, I'll guarantee you of that. With a plant on the bridge, this round has become very difficult for Heretics to even find anything in. You're talking about economy damage at this point, and it's one man. Make that no man. Aya's had a hell of a round.
Yeah, no, he just goes running in, takes the battles. Obviously, the space was taken initially by Life. Just I don't mind committing an ult like that in a round where ultimately you're in a position to spare a few here and there and just make sure that you're not going to lose to pistols. As said, the opponents can be incredibly dangerous on the side of Heretics with those pistols in hand, and he was able to make sure there at least wasn't a direct stack on the side. Although there was 3 players around, and well, he kind of dealt with those very easily indeed.
We've had a Team Heretics pause called 4-1 in the lead, and now tied up neck and neck, with FPX seemingly having an answer for every problem they're presented with. And this is a big round for Heretics. Last time, they had the pistols, like we said. Now, they've got rifles and an operator. Ultimates ×4. FPX still have that Viper's Pit to fall back on. They picked up the Nightfall as well.
I think the things that worry me again is Miniboo.
Padahal game seru tapi aku dibuat ngantuk anjir. Seruan ini daripada yang game kita tadi.
I think the highs are very high and the lows are very low. And obviously, you have players like Woot, Benji who can pick up the slack. There's no one on this Heretics team that I would say is a weakness. I guess the same for the other team. I think FPX clinically underrated. I think that EDG have their number, but when they come to the international stage, well, the teams they lost to last time around were Team Heretics, where they lost 15-17 in the last map in OT, and a team called Genshin. So,
yeah, right, I heard.
And they took a map off both. So this is a team that I think, again, maybe if you're a Sentinels fan, you're thinking, it's fine, we'll have FPX in the lower bracket. I would not breathe easy just yet.
Well, they took a map off Gen.G, Sentinels didn't. Just earlier on.
Sure. But I think this group truly is terrifying from top to bottom, and I'm sure most people would put FPX at the bottom, but I'm not sure I do. Berlin already directly into the site. Loves his TPs, but it's a lot of damage done off the rip.
Yes, well, I is extremely low, but so too is Woot. Oh, hello. Thrash still there to be used. Big backside push. Berlin holds the line for a moment, but then Woot on his low HP, the one to trade out, pick up the double. At least FPX scrambling.
Mid just to clear out that lurk. I think Rian just had enough. He's like, he's going to be here. I'm going to check. But again, it's an opening left on that A site, which is going to be a plant. Viper's Pit available, and there's nothing that anyone can do to stop this, other than maybe Blind Hunter's Fury to try and deny the plant. That might slow them down a bit, and that is what he's going to go for. It's not hit.
It was close, but unfortunately it comes at the cost of his life, with Life himself being the one to grab that kill. Bladestorm, we just heard it activated by Miniboo. They're going to commit to this, and going through that Viper's Pit with a Bladestorm might be an advantage. Find him, drop the right click and get it done. Flash out a little early. Life's going to get ahead of the Thrash, but not destroy it. Luckily, it's gone too deep. It's inside the ultimate itself. You're not going to be able to recover that, certainly not with any form of ease. Miniboo, I almost expected him to go up top. Instead, he's just running it through, finding one, but it's not the Viper. Now you're down to the operator. That's not the right weapon for the job. The spray's good to drop the diffuser, and although Autumn falls, the time already too far gone, and they can't deal with Life. FPX
Gila, kena comeback anjir. Tadi megang 4-1 apa dia ya? Jadi 4-5 aja. Apa 3-1 gitu lupa kok.
He seems to be everywhere, and that's the thing. Aya's been having a great game, but Life is up there as well. Normally as the tip of the spear, and somehow even surviving to the late game as well. And this round again was just the mid-round calling has been exceptional. Like we have seen different moments where they start one side of the map, they go for these opening picks, and by the time you even notice it, they're back on the other side, they've cleared everything out, and even losing the lurk. Like that was the moment you think, okay, the round's done.
Well, they had 2 lurks.
Yeah, and then they go hunting. Life again was the guy who got the kill on Rian.
Kan, betul aku kan?
No.
Yang pertama jatuh apa?
When you talk about
TH.
self-critical, I hope he can let that one go. That's a rough one.
I hope other people can let that one go as well. I think that's going to be in a montage or two.
They only have pistols. At least they only have pistols this round.
Right.
It's not as bad as it could have been. That's rough, man. That is very rough.
Yeah.
FPX.
GB loves the phrase "from the top rope." I don't think that's what he meant.
From the mid rope, right down to the bottom. Well, 5-4, and it's a 5v4. With FPX having the lead without drawing blood themselves, they've got to be happy about that.
Berlin did get the kill.
Technically, it was given, but he wasn't too involved. It was by proxy.
No, it was just fear. He saw into Berlin's eyes. Maybe Miniboo has nightmares of Berlin in more ways than one.
Oh, wow.
Here we go. 4 players to try and find anything again. I feel like we've been saying this a lot, just an attempt to do damage, and wow, Woot's gonna get one for free. That's not too bad. Trade eventually there from Aya, keeping them honest. No ultimates if they needed them, but I don't think they will. This is now falling perfectly into place for the side of FPX. Don't think they will.
Load tadi tu ya?
Now falling perfectly.
Iya load.
4-1.
Tak mungkin mata aku
They've
salah
now
ya.
managed to streak themselves 5 rounds in a row. There you go. Well, you can see it on your screen. Don't need my help.
Yeah, it's been a very impressive resurgence.
It just, that's the...
Oh, you can see it in the player cam.
Oh. The thing is, it's the worst player for it to happen to as well, because I feel like if Benji has, like, he's gonna be giggling, he's gonna be having a laugh.
Laughing away.
I think Woot as well.
The silly little goose.
Minibu after having a rough start, I feel like that might get to him, and he's gonna go aggro. I think wanted to try and rectify things, but hey, FPX are meeting him.
They absolutely are. Look, with a guy like Life, we've seen this a couple of times. He's willing to play a little bit loose. A little bit crazy. Setting out the late lurk for Berlin. He's going to be covering the back lines where the traps from Cypher don't. And for Team Heretics, same old thing. Group up, play this as a blob, move together. Smoke's online for Boo fairly soon. He's popping down his stars as we speak. But the time here is a big problem.
They've had it for a while. They could section things off. There you go. Space taken, but they have to deal with life.
They also have to be quick because Berlin's on the way up behind, and if he finds that space before they've claimed the site, this could be an absolute disaster. Problem is, denying this defuse is very difficult. Oh, the run through is good, and the shorty comes out for more!
Gelo. Aku kira dia bakal jatuh lompat tadi.
Back on the board, but
dikasih lompat ruangnya.
The funny thing is, if Benji stood a little bit further forward, he does to fall down.
He pushes him off.
He literally would have fallen off, but
iya, kalau Benji di ujung tadi tuh.
Big risk just to play that far forward, but yeah, the fact he jumps in, sprays ones down, and then gets the second with the shorty, like, and the Cosmic Divide was great, but again, when you're up against a team like this who have no fear, they don't mind playing through your utility, you have to basically body check them into not playing confidently, and I don't think anybody's managed to do that ever. And well, speaking of confidence, Autumn's coming into this round with the Viper attack side op. Actually, in fact, so is Aya.
Yeah, I mean, they've got extra credits. I have to assume there's a weapon on the floor. In case things start to spiral out, this is the last round of the half.
What the heck? Gak hancur-hancur. Perasaan aku 2 hit pertamanya kena deh.
For FPX, well, 6 rounds in a row. No surprise to see them playing confident, and even in the last round, I feel like
6 round in a row. Iya, 4-1 berarti. Mereka dapat 7 berarti 6 round. Dari 4-1 jadi 7-4. Jadi 4-7.
Now it's going to be the same thing. Lysor mid lurk, play to B site, but again, Heretics, all the utils here, and they've got Rians this time.
That's it. His darts have been impressive, and he's got it online now. Trying to get that information, and it is eventually going to be denied. In fact, not catching anybody this time. The one time it would have been almost instant death for the side of this attack. They're taking the space, jumping up. Benji's found the first. Holding that line, but it's not clean. It's not pretty. Well, Aya's managed to take him down. Timer ticking and the spike still in an awkward spot. But again, he's always there, always behind. The timing's going to be everything, though, as Rians drops another. He's heard the steps of Minibu coming behind him. He's trying to catch this guy off guard instead, and now looks to switch back. That plant is just about going to be coming in time. And they've still got to worry about that flank.
Yeah, it's made its way up top now, and well, it doesn't look like the flank's the main problem. Berlin's holding strong. Autumn's here to support, although he's lost his head. Now the flank going to be dealt with, but ammo is the main concern. 8-4 as we close out this half, and FPX, they were 4-1 down. Yeah. This was looking bad. They needed an answer, and by golly, they found it.
4-1 jadi 4-8. Serem banget aja.
I've really enjoyed the way that we've seen mid-round switch-ups, more direct takes. As I said, I think the calling, honestly, from the side of FPX has been utterly sublime. And then just those individual plays, like Lysor, bottom of the board, has been an irritant for them the entirety of this half.
Well, nothing but problems for the side of Team Heretics after round 5. There's been no success. They'll get a moment to recoup ahead of the next half. We'll be back in just a little bit.
Ntar toilet kencing.
open for the taking. A little bit of Cypher
Aduh,
utility awaiting them,
kenapa?
but no one to execute on the
Kenapa
back.
ini?
No one there. You can walk into every single one of those trips unless it catches him and
Ya
pulls him
Allah.
off the map. I don't think that's going to be working. And I was about to say, surely at this point, if he hasn't realized it by now, we have a problem. For the rest of the players, it may genuinely just be a, well, I was going to say die to the spike, or, you know, there's other ways. Oh no, I tripped.
I have tripped and fallen. No. FPX, I think the spike is the likely play. And look to just punish anybody that gets aggressive.
If they catch someone, get an orb. The thing is, none of their ultimates are even remotely close. Lysor is the closest, and I don't think it's worth risking giving stuff over to the other side. Although, Boo is going to gamble. He wants to try and get himself a little closer. Only has a pistol to play with, so it's an orb for an orb. Not going to be the worst scenario, not going to be the best. And while Heretics have closed the distance a little bit more. The problem being, though, is in the buy rounds is where FPX were, well, as you can see by the timeline, by far the better side.
Yes, absolutely. When those rifles come out, when old cycles are through, and honestly, a lot of the time it's been nothing to do with ultimates. It is just how they're playing the map. But on the attack side, it's a different game. I don't expect them to slow down too much, though. The results here, this is, well, it's their pick for a reason. They're on this defense, B-side, Viper, Autumn's been having a good game so far. And his challenge is a little bit more aggressive than we saw from Heretics.
pesertanya,
Boo
bro.
is constantly playing far back in heaven, or Benji playing towards the spawn with his utility. Instead, Autumn is out looking for a fight.
Because they've got Thrash online. If he's not put into a better position, or if he's caught out, he is the only defender of this site. So that definitely could be an issue. I think also just playing on this side when there's a Gecko, because that is the normal route to send through Wingman to get you into the after plant. It's the common post plant that we see from a lot of teams. And I guess with Berlin now alongside him, it isn't so much of a risk. I think we've also seen a bit of utility on the other side of the map. So I think FPX at this point have a pretty decent idea. That doesn't necessarily mean that Heretics are going to stick to this. In fact, no, they're doubling back.
Some of these rounds are going to hinge on that mid lurk, and we've seen Benji sitting around this position, but only holding for the aggression. Not looking to get up in their faces, opening the door at least to cause some paranoia, but, well, FPX know there's nothing going on. Life has committed himself to holding down middle. FPX have a lot of utility on A. We saw this in the last round. The traps were there awaiting them. Although we'll have Thrash going through first, you've still got to avoid those traps. That's exactly what Miniboo does. Updraft dash takes Heaven control, but no punish just yet there. Lysor eventually falls from the jump up. Miniboo looks to be a thorn in their side. Up in Heaven, not just by himself, but with two players, make that nobody. Woot dies, and the fallback from Boo now leaves Miniboo alone.
They've seen him. It seems like it. Lots of utility being expended, and he's isolated. And the aggression elsewhere hasn't succeeded either.
Turun 3.
Puts the advantage with the defense. Rians and Benji. A little bit of an angle over the top, which might just give the game away. A nice shot from Rians. Puts things back into a 2 versus 2. And for a moment, it looked like Ion was going to try and jump around, but he's thought better of it. That time continuing to tick. Rians continuing to land every shot. 4 kills for him in this round. That Sova switch seems to just work for him. An agent he thrives under.
Benar tadi gak ada smoke ya?
Jump around to a 2 isolated, and the aggression in him. It seems
Ada loh dia smoke.
lots of utility being expended, and he's
Berlinnya
isolated, and the aggression elsewhere.
udah di smoke dia mainnya. Habis smoke udah. Kira ada lagi sehabis. Habis semua smoke main tuh ada lagi.
Spotted up in Heaven, dealt with the utility thrown down and him forced out of position. And that Woot got caught going up. You know, the idea was to have 3 players there to take a fight, to maybe even flash through the smoke and get super aggressive. But once Woot falls, Boo's in no man's land and quickly swept up.
It's the Turkish Olympian. He doesn't need any of that high-tech mumbo-jumbo.
No.
Put a gun in his hand. And well, they'll be hoping this time it's not the silver medal. Either way, that has wrecked the economy of FPX.
Yeah.
Ion is going to be in the same position, trying to make that Guardian work. To be fair, when he's had a hero rifle, there has been extra damage caused. There's no doubt about it. The rest left just onto pistols. I guess in that case, I'd probably be watching Lysor, because his shower is fairly nasty. For the other side, though, you got Hunter's Fury, one away as well from a Cosmic Divide, which for the most part is not normally the most impactful, but when you're up against pistols, being able to section off an angle, if there's a stack, could be high priority. Instead, though, Heretics, again, they fall into this passive default. They are expecting aggression, they're expecting pushes, and to be fair, other than the mid push, no one's really moving.
Yeah, it's a slow play. And with 40 seconds left, that's when Heretics start to look somewhere else, start to move, and abandon those lurk catches. Well, if Berlin hadn't walked in with his back turned, I think that could have been a different fight. Instead, Miniboo grabs the opening. It does spur them onto the B side where everyone's
What the
waiting.
fuck?
And it's iYoung taking 2 headshots at that with the Guardian. And they're in a bit of trouble jumping across that bridge.
What the fuck? Kasih S.
His 4th kill locked in already. And Benji Fishy left in an impossible situation. 3 players and iYoung looking for the ace. He's got it locked in.
Gila anjir.
For FPX, and what a way to do it.
Yang shot kedua tadi itu, coba lihat.
2 rounds,
Coba lihat.
9 Guardian kills. I don't think you're gonna find that too often in the history.
Nih ya. Satu, yang kedua. Oh, dua-dua di situ rupanya. Aku kira satunya di kanan.
But let's be real. I think there was about 1, maybe 2 missed bullets in the entirety of this round for him. FPX showing the depth of skill. He is 19 and 10 right now on the scoreboard. Nobody even close.
Yeah, and again, I hate to harp on it, but we opened this up by talking about it, and even we finished the EMEA Stage 2 by talking about Miniboo's state. This is a guy that relies on confidence and hasn't had it recently. Bottom of the board, 5 and 12.
They got to kill that round.
What the fuck lagunya?
To buy up, but if they lose this round, that's the first domino knocked over. For FPX, they're getting into the home stretch.
I think that the thing for them in this series, though, is again. Worried, but of course, coming into this tournament, you want to start. You want to start as clean as possible, because you know if you win this one, you've got your grand final again. Yeah. We've already seen 1 grand final rematch. I think most people are expecting a second. This group truly is terrifying. Life though, well, that's just absurd. He just tried something so risky, and he has walked into. Yep, that's the whole Heretics team.
That is everybody. iYoung might be in a position to get under that. I think it's just about going to catch him. We'll see. Yeah, he's had to break it as he makes his way through, and now they're aware. They're turning.
Would have made it if he was bold. That's all I'm saying. Another win for the bold gang.
Another win, the first win, let's say. Wow. Team Heretics, 4 versus 1 at this point. It seems to be locked in, but
Yo, S lagi bro, S lagi bro.
I'm not certain it'll be an easy
bukan dia tadi yang ngekill.
Go on, throw the Nightfall in, I believe.
Economy, a little shaky. And for the defensive side, I think it's better to just carry this weapon through to the next. They've made the right call, but that does put Team Heretics with a foot in the door.
Yeah, it sort of is what the desk was talking about. It's the aggressive plays either look amazing or they look like that. You try and flash through a smoke, the whole team is waiting on the other side, you get wrecked. It's going to happen. It's how this composition almost works for them. Like, you have yourself that solo initiator, and because of it, and they do this a lot, they play the double controller or even triple controller on a lot of maps, so you're very reliant on the solo initiator or, and in most cases it's the Life to be an initiator with his face. So he's going to go running into angles, flashing into angles. You'll see it, no matter the agent, if he plays Jet, if he plays Raze, he's going to be taking space that you wouldn't even expect the craziest of duelists to take, because of the comps of their brand, because they're more reliant on him to do stuff like that. And unfortunately, well, you lose 2 opening picks immediately off the rip. The round's going to go wrong. Luckily, with that extra save, with the extra gun, they're still going to come in with the purchase. And Ultimate's, honestly, at this stage, fairly even.
Yeah, relatively neck and neck. I mean, you can understand that last round, the early aggression. Sometimes you got to just throw in a little extra flair to your round. And if there's a lurker there, he's dead, most likely. But, well, there were 5 people ready to take the fight. For FPX, rotation comes through. Life now in position, ready to take this B fight. In fact, a decoy is sent straight through, and Life is awaited. They let the decoy run past, took the main man down, and now the advantage, well, actually quickly flips hands. Autumn making a
Gila, chaos banget. Gak keliat apa-apa aku.
A 2 versus
Gara-gara wall ni doang.
needed for FPX. The spike planted relatively open. The thrash online just in case. And there's not a lot to say for FPX in terms of their chances. They need picks. They need to get aggressive. At least they'll have the information to work with, but I don't know what that is going to get them. Maybe point the guns in the right direction. Little lurk around from iYoung. He's going to go for it. Yeah, but find absolutely nothing. A firing squad waiting for him.
Yeah, Brians is there, so clean with it at the end. Scoreline equalized. Another round on the board for Heretics, and again, I think some more just solid utility. We saw the initial flashes. I think the gecko flash caught like everybody who was on that side. Like every POV we switched to, I'm sure of the observers, like get one that isn't blind. Just try and find them as they go, but it was rough on the way in. And I also think the dart, yeah, you could just see the combination of utility. You had the dart, the immediate Hunter's Fury, and then the Dizzy that just left everybody within that site without being able to see and being revealed. And I think there was even a counter ultimate of a Nightfall that was thrown in by the defense, but it didn't matter because, well, you might not be able to hear anything, but you can see exactly where they are because of re-ends.
Well, that one round from iYoung is 4 kills on the Guardian. We thought that might have spurred them on, put them into the home stretch with just one more round. It put Heretics' economy in a pretty tough spot, but now they've bounced back neck and neck with the attack side certainly getting the grips with their bank accounts, their credits rolling high. Even after buying, they could buy for the next round all. Facing an eco. But taking it here means Heretics likely push up to double digits. And if damage isn't done in this round, they'll have a lot of safety net to fall back on.
That's similar to the last half, but at this stage looking a little bit worse for wear. And I think that the problem right now seems to be that any of the aggression they're attempting is just met with the full force of their opponents. And I think Heretics are doing well, in at least when it's versus the buy rounds, they're basically just grouping up. They're knowing that, okay, either we go for a direct take together, we have our trips to still give away the game, but also they're probably going to push. And as long as someone's playing anti-flash or looking the other way, a lot of what Life is going to be attempting isn't going to work. This setup is dirty. They've got a Paranoia setup, a Cam looking forward. They could also send a Prowler through from the corner. This is an almost perfect trap if somebody walks into it, which they didn't. So now the rest of them are going to go hunting this guy with a Guardian. iYoung is gross.
He needs to stop buying the Vandal.
Yeah, waste.
There's no reason. It's 20 and 11. So many of those are Guardian kills. So many of those are one taps. 50 seconds on the clock. Spike's already made it to the B site. Planted as we speak. Woot. Well, his Dizzy's gone. He's going to play aggressive. He's not going to recover that Dizzy up top instead. To try to disorientate the team. A defensive side with a flare of aggression. Banshee's caught one on the flank, but there's a lot more coming. 20 HP left on iYoung. That'll limit his impact. No. Autumn, I thought he had something special up his sleeve, but just the one to be found. Still, though, a 2 versus 2. If iYoung had full HP, I might even favor them in this position. I might favor them still. A chance with both solo. 10 HP in the difference. Shock dart in. Rien's finding it. And double digits is locked in.
Miss pula. Halo, tes. Miss pula tadi temennya itu. Nih coba dapat 2 temannya.
Whether it's
Ente bro.
reveals, whether it's the shot darts or
Hampir loh itu dapat 2.
the headshots he's hitting, is playing a wonderful match. And right now for them, it has been a difference maker. They haven't been able to really do too much to deal with him. Again though, it's a low buy round that just gets so dangerous. iYoung with that Guardian, another couple of kills. In fact, I think the last kills he got before that were also with the Guardian when he got that 4K. That was when we last saw something from him. Viper's Pit immediately put into play, trip alongside it, and it means that they're going to try and gamble elsewhere. Have 3 players towards the B site. Middle control will be held by Lysor, but once again, and no surprise, Heretics are taking their time.
Lysor is going to be pretty passive, extremely passive in fact, because you've got the trap sitting inside that Viper's Pit on A. a free kill if they decide to push up. And even if they break it, you're going to have Autumn probably swinging on you right away, spraying a Phantom, no tracers, and you're already decayed massively. It's a huge bit of control to play with for this defensive side, allowing them to stack that B site. The only real concern is mid, and if pressure gets applied there, TP from Life, he's there to fight alongside Lysor, and they can take their duels. Heretics will find it hard to find a response, especially as they've pumped the brakes so heavily in this round. With 40 seconds left, still yet to really make any ground. Rien's considering the drone through A, making it look like this is where the play is coming in, and the hope being that the rotations do come through. Life is TP'd off B at least, so they found it an easier job on that side of the map. Oh, and the push through into heaven.
Leaving one player there, it's Berlin. He's going to be actually pinged immediately by the Dizzy, but it allows him to go back into position. Woot though, defending his little bro. That means they're going to get into that after plant. Utility retrieved. The rest so far away. Ion though has pushed in on his own, and well, he's going to get double swinged for it. A little bit over aggressive, a little bit individualistic.
Berat.
The rest of his team are now still a man down, and they've got to be worried. There is the latest lurk on planet Earth from Benji. He's only just made the drop. I think it actually got heard by Autumn, so he's now waiting. That's another kill to their name, putting things back. But again, Rien's so clean, so confident in these late round scenarios. Autumn's just going to try and get in and defuse this, but actually, I was going to say maybe he wouldn't be pulled off, but I think he has been. The angle not being able to be kept, and eventually it's going to fall flat on its face. Another round where Rien's the last one alive and taking down that final kill.
You know, this round, it makes sense why Benji took so long to get back out, because they made this the most telegraphed A push, A split of all time. The drone goes through the Viper's pit, it catches the tag, immediately on middle, Benji's breaking open the vents, running through to the A site, and letting them know, hey, we tagged you, we're coming to kill you, we're gonna drop that pit, take the site. And the response is what it should be from FPX. They immediately rotate in. Your Viper can't just hold a 360-degree angle.
Gila, berapa ulti tadi tuh? FPX 3 ya?
The site's much more open. Isolated fight onto Berlin. Site secure.
Cuma main ulti wood aja itu. Dapat side itu.
That was what needed to happen. Otherwise, he just runs back out on mid. They obviously know he's there. They kill him. One less guy to deal with.
The danger now, 4 ultimates online for Heretics in a round that if they win,
4. Nambah.
it will put
Si Sopa nambah barusan.
awkward position. Their ultimates, some close.
Dapat ini 12. Kalau ngabisin ulti 2 nggak dapat 12, gila sih.
Might be able to just run away with it. And as said, this is a map that is pretty important for FPX to take. Heading into bind up next. Miniboo, space taken. He's got the Thrash actually going in behind him. That will clear the back of the site and give them all the space they need.
Should even be able to get back over to recover that, but Woot, picking up the kill onto Young. I don't think he's going to be going for Thrash. Instead, holding onto that control. Up close is Miniboo.
2 ulti kan dipakai kan? Ulti wood dipakai, ulti range dipakai. Tapi kalau ini kalah, gila, rugi banget.
The ult forces him out of position. He knows he was about to be revealed, but Lysor gets the kill. Now the aggression from Life. Flash. Should have another. There it is. Popped and ult completed. Not able to find anything. Sending the decoy through. Just buying the space. Keeping them back in the choke point as the defuse starts. Now he'll body block. Look to absorb those bullets for his teammate. They've killed Life. And now they need the diffuser. Looks like they'll get him just in time. With it ticking away, all they have to do is deny that diffuse with the man advantage to their back. And the classic kills to close it out. That's 12-9 FPX left in a really difficult spot now. Economy down low, and 3 in a row needed to stay alive.
That's the thing. If you're in a late round and you see Rien's is alive, just run. Just run. Like, it's a little bit unlucky, like the smoke fading just revealed Berlin to everybody at the end. The body block from Life was a nice idea, but that smoke just, it wasn't quite there, just not long enough. And while the final push from Rien's, him and Woot, the Turkish duo, up there at the top of the board.
And I think the smoke faded because when they put it up, I could be wrong, but I think they took a second to get towards it because they were cautious of any traps being there. With such a passive hold as well, like I saw them crouch walking into the smoke. An unfortunate one. The 12-9 on the board. Heretics on the cusp of victory. And the map they were 4-1 up in and then lost a streak.
Wah, gak dia nge-pick anjir.
Is pulling them kicking and screaming back into this series.
Yeah, it's going to sound harsh, but when you have initiators putting up this many numbers, sometimes your duelist can have a bad game. Like, it really does. It's so ridiculous how talented these two Turkish players can be.
Dia pakai apa sih?
FPX have at no point
Berapa?
out of this map. In fact, it looks like it was going to go dominantly in their favor at a stage, but the second they got onto this defense, it's been a round won by Ayung. And other than that, not a lot to write home about. Blade Storm in. Ayung also has the ult available, and Berlin's gone pushing. So is Autumn.
Yeah, they got all the control. They know it's an A-hit that's coming through. The thing is, Benji, he doesn't react in time. The player on the side of his screen, Autumn's picked him up, and now the flank comes underway, or the quicker rotation through the vents. Young able to grab one, and it's Lysor's double. At least giving them a chance in this with low HP, the decay fading, but Boo still on 54. He'll have a tough time in closing this one out. Still stars to play with. Has his grab well, and that is going to be the port of call to start this one off. Buying him a little bit more time. A looky spam could even the odds. And indeed, they baited out immediately, aware that he's going to be trying something nasty like that. He needs to start spraying. He knows this could be being diffused, and they're waiting for just that. He's seen both. Now he knows it's not even half just yet. He's got a bit more time to play with 4 bullets, and not enough to take them down. The defuse will go across the line for FPX. They'll reach double digits, but they still need 2 more.
Yeah, I
Two
think
more,
he
bro.
was incredibly wary of the flank and
2 more.
because those were the players that pushed mid to kill off Benji. So he was so worried about it.
Berat
Getting that little
Timur
bit of
Labib
information,
Indonesia
gave
ID
him a chance to fight,
Serigala.
but with the low HP already
Apaan,
on the
Bang?
board, wasn't to be. And again, a lot of this comes down to just the initiative.
Tanda
This was
tanyain
something that
apaan?
in a lot of the games we saw from FPX where they were successful on the defense, they had a lot of cool ideas, a lot of aggressive pushes, but I think with how Heretics have been playing around mid, they've been deterred. They haven't been able to get away with a lot on this portion of the map and had to go for something quite a bit later. 2 rounds the difference. 2 rounds is all they've had. But as we've seen, they're very good at streaking rounds together.
With these weaker weapons, I'm not expecting much. Woot, though, has the rifle and is able to grab himself at least the trade to start this one off. Moving towards the site, we'll see the plant come in from the wingman. Already mostly through. The spray's not quite landing, so they're able to fall back now. 2 rifles, 3. Well, make that 2 again. It's Boo and Benji Fishy holding the chances of this squad in their hands. They only have 2 chances to close this out, and this one, well, it's not quite their best opportunity with Boo tagged up, or well, decayed down by the nightfall. The defuse already underway. Here comes the shock dart lineup though. Grabwell already used to start this one off. Flank spotted as well. Lysor won't get a free kill, but with Boo falling, the numbers thin out. They've dealt with flank, but they haven't dealt with the defuse, and the Hunter's Fury way too late. They'll get a tag, but that's all, and an ult expended for little to no impact.
They might be able to hold on to their weapons and again make things a little bit more costly, but FPX are not going to mind. They managed to drag this back at the depths to look to try and take this to OT. And again, like for what was invested, not a bad round from Heretics, but just throwing in that ult at the end, thinking that, okay, maybe they've got it half, maybe they've got it close, but it was a lot further along than I think anybody over on the Heretic side had thought. Yeah, it was basically done. It was only if he was incredibly low HP that would have made a difference. 12 to 11, still having a Thrash available. It's going to be something to play with, and definitely still wary of these aggressive pushes. For now, though, again, looking a lot more direct from the side of Heretics.
Well, it absolutely is. We saw Thrash put into the hand of Woot, and now sent out to find a victim. Drop. That was an interesting dash up top. Young in the perfect position to punish it. And now Benji, well, he's not going to get away with absolutely anything. They really want to fight for heaven for Vents, but they will get nothing. Heretics left in the dirt. 12 to 12.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's
Heretics had it
go.
in the bag, but a last-second resurgence from FPX keeps them in it.
I think it's been both teams now that I've expected it to go dominantly to FPX after an incredible first half. then I was like, okay, well, this is done. And now it's gone to OT, but probably in one of the weirdest fashions I've ever seen.
Siapa sih ini nih?
And the thing is, I don't think Ayung had been playing that position much. Like, we'd seen Miniboo multiple times dash up there and have no contestation whatsoever. This time, Ayung is waiting. 27 and 16, by the way. It is him and Rienz who are really running the show. The question is, who's going to be able to take it over the line? FPX, it seems like all the bells and whistles, all the fakes, all the ruses might go out the window here as all the players, all 5 in fact, are outside B.
Well, Heretics going for the same push-up on A, but seeing absolutely nothing this time. Going to be much quicker rotations going around, plugging the gap that's on middle, and mainly trying to support this B site. Unfortunately, they won't be there in time. Look who snuck into position, though. Boo. It's not a normal spot to be playing from, and they're not even going to clear it. They're not even looking this way. That's the spike right in front of him. He's letting it get half planted just in case he can find another kill, and not quite, but he does the damage. Lysor on 8 HP, but the advantage sits with FPX, and it's Lysor that's going to go forward to plant this spike, I believe uncontested, unless there's a crazy shock dart. There actually was! Rienz fires it in and takes him down! And Autumn and Berlin, now another man sent in to plant this spike, a death sentence most of the time. I believe another, it's a reveal in fact, not a shock this time. It was sent through and it's caught the information. They know where FPX are holding this from. Autumn needs a big play and only the one to be found.
Yuk, Berlin yuk, bisa yuk.
Versus 2. And they're all going to be
Bisa yuk. Ammo penuh.
If there is a chance, the spray might just work out, but they're trying to bait him into a fight. He sees they're not defusing. He'll buy it this time just a little bit further. In fact, the clock here could prove to be the biggest enemy for the side of Heretics as they start this defuse yet again. The swing is
Ya Allah. Vandal lo itu. Kok nggak mati, bro?
For the side of Heretics as they start
Phantom ya?
yet again. The swing is in, but the shots don't land. For the side of Heretics as they start this defuse yet again. The swing is in, but the shots
Ya
don't
kalau
land.
Vandal mati itu orang. Aku baru tahu itu Phantom. Gak tahu skin itu dah.
Last time they played this map, he wasn't playing Sova. He was playing Breach. So that's something they've brought in for the game today. And it has been disgustingly good. Whether it's reveals, as said, or shock darts. Okay, maybe a hit or miss with the Hunter's Fury, but I don't think they're going to mind too much. Well, you could understand the elation from Benji. They got another opportunity. They've already had 3 of them to close out this map, and FPX, well, they got an extra pause. They're using it.
Now's not the time to let this one slip. With that a little bit of extra brain juice expanded.
Jam 6, jam 8 aku buat dungeon. Buat dungeon. Apa nggak usah masuk buat dungeon ya? Mager banget sebenarnya.
I think I showed you this when it came down to their B site hold. Yeah, he has a nest wallbang that he uses for a specific post spawn. So if he is pulling this in, I would be very surprised if they're not going B, because he has an exact post spawn for this.
You know, you showed me that, and I used it in my next rank game. Let me tell you, the things that were written in chat, I'm pretty sure some people got banned, but it's good fun, and I think pulling it out at a time like this will be unexpected for FPX as well. Like,
they haven't used it at all.
The only thing I'll say is that FPX have been tremendously cautious about trap wires. I saw it on the A site retake. I've seen it a couple of times where they're going into a site and they're looking everywhere to find those traps. If they make the mistake of not clearing them this time, they will be punished quite heavily.
But also, he just knows his lineup for the post plant. So if the traps might not even be an issue, really. It's just going to be if they can get into a post plant, which, hey, if you're running a Gecko, I feel like you should be able to do that, and they have been able to do that. Autumn already spotted. Boo already in position, ready with his lineups, just to try and be an absolute rat at the back of the site. And while this is maybe the scariest post plant the FPX are going to ever have to face into.
Berat.
They might not even know what they're facing just yet. That's the scariest part. You see the stars down on the spike. The Gravwell to deny. Benji's been in this position quite a few times, more than a handful of times. But this time they're not checking it in time. Luckily, Lysor reacts, finds the kill. The defuse started, at least that's as far as Heretics know. Some kills come through though. They reclaim the space. The Odin takes Lysor. The drop from Berlin is good. able to at least find the one, and Rienz is incredibly low. Boo's caught up top. That's a big mistake. All he has to do now is root out Rienz and deal with Wu, but that's a big task halfway when Rienz swings in.
Kalau udah planting di situ berat banget tuh.
They push them to the limit, but Team Heretics take it across the line.
No, incredible performance from them in the end. It was a back and forth all the way through a map that we favored for FPX, a map that, as said,
Aku off stream dah. Gak seru game.
The hero plays from the likes of
Penontonin Sentinel tadi lihat dah.
Fantastic. Either way, still more to come. Bye.
Bentar.
Up next after the break.
Besok main apa sih? There Crew penetik grup E main. Besoknya lagi grup C. Nih kita nonton gitu peperek aja deh. Itu peperek. Tapi 3D lagi aja. Oke. Thank you siapapun yang udah mampir. Siapapun yang udah mampir, thank you. Aku off dulu. Taralala. Lemes bro, Sentinel kalah.